screwed up anyway.
Deferring.
Right, well, you got him, so push him.
Okay, we should be, where's my pad? Why don't I hear anything?
Now, our resident curmudgeon finds inspiration in an unexpected place. I've been thinking a lot lately about my color computer. You see, I have been using it less lately than I used to. I'm the kind of person who always likes to try new things with my color computer. But lately, I've been finding it harder to discover new things to try. I guess I could look on social media, but I never really did get into that. Anyone who knows me won't be surprised. And I learned something new. There's a group of people who get together every Saturday to talk about the CoCo. They call themselves the CoCoNation, and they say they're the world's leading live weekly talk show featuring the color computer. They talk about the CoCo siblings and its cousins, too. They even talk about its red-headed stepchild. I've heard they've got some nitwit doing commercials for them. He pretends he's Sally Struthers. The CoCoNation live show has changed my relationship with my color computer. I find that I'm using it a lot more again. I really like the CoCoNation live show, and I think you will, too.
The CoCoNation show is an unscripted, live, and interactive broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own, and not necessarily those of the CoCoNation show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds are encouraged, and a sense of humor is recommended. Thank you for being a part of the CoCoNation.
Radio Shack? Okay.
What?
The 80s called.
Welcome to the CoCoNation, the world's first live and interactive talk show featuring the Tandy color computer and its hardware cousins.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CoCoNation Show, episode 474.
Is that a URL error or something, or are we past the scale now?
I think
Oh,
we
there's
passed the
500
scale.
ones.
Yeah, we're gonna start 500 soon.
Yeah. All right. In the panel today, we start off with Marco.
Hey there, how did I get the first spot?
Just lucky, I guess. Second
be. Clean
spot
living.
is yours truly, the button pusher. And we got Ron Deluxe Patriot.
Tough being wonderful, isn't it?
I know.
It just makes me think, oh Lord, it's hard to be humble. Next up, we got Alan, Exile in Paradise.
Howdy, everyone. Welcome to the CoCoNation.
And, all right, Henry Strickland.
Hello world, my CoPiKey centipede has a new squeak emulating a Orchestra 90.
Okay, and Rick Yu.
Howdy, folks. I don't squeak like an orchestra.
And speaking of funny noises, Brian Weasler.
Oh, hello all. Hope I'm not being too noisy.
And next over, we got Kevin Holloway.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Very good. And bottom row, we got Paul Cunningham.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you.
And just now joining us, special guest L. Curtis Boyle.
I remember him.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, hey Curtis.
What?
Whoa.
Hey, welcome on.
Curtis?
Oh, you just gave
Oh,
us the
we should-
finger. Oh,
We should probably ask him. This is your life. That's what does that what we do with all new members?
yes.
Yes.
Give you the appropriate finger.
Welcome back, Curtis.
Yeah, thanks. It's pretty tiring because I started a new job Monday when I got back, and then my old job loaded me up with 4 jobs. So I've been working 16-hour shifts all week.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
You got to turn the volume down.
Yeah, you might want to
just a
bump that
wee
down
bit.
just a little bit
distorting.
there.
You're distorting a little bit. Back your gain off.
Yeah, it's like
That might be Zoom here because my mic's the same as it always
That
is.
helped a lot. Whatever
Yeah.
just happened was better.
sounds like
Yeah, it's probably Zoom's probably bumped it up a bit or something because it's still way
they
down
got
on
you,
my
they
mic.
got you cranked to even the comments are saying, quiet down, LCB.
Yeah, maybe put the mic in the other side of the room or something there.
Did it go down or do you need it down more?
And
Oh,
a little
a little
more.
more.
It's
Yeah, a lot
better.
more.
It's not
Distorting.
actually crackling, but it's still right
Oh,
up
it's
there.
crackling.
Kind of attenuation a little bit there. Kind of.
Okay. Try that.
Too far.
Well,
Yeah.
Too much.
Too much?
No, you
yeah.
sound good. I think you sound good. Maybe a little quiet, but
You're a
you're.
little
say
quiet.
something.
That's going to
Bring
be
it back
in the
up.
mush.
When the heck have I ever been quiet? Come on.
It's like split the difference there.
I got it down about a quarter right now.
There. That sounds good to me.
Yeah,
No,
we'll go
come
with
back a bit.
crackling.
No, your headphones are too good, Brian.
Do you
It's
have
not
your
crackly, but still a
first year
quiet.
anniversary planned out yet?
What's that?
That's a year away.
Yeah. Do you have your first year anniversary planned out
No,
yet?
I'm just still trying to get the transitioning between jobs here going.
Oh, gee.
Transitioning and dodging the fires.
Like doing both at the same time is kind of wearing.
Wow. Let's see. In the chat, we've got Wayne Campbell, Kevin Holloway, Exile in Paradise, Michael Zwiffle, J.E. Jones, Jim Rye. Scroll.
Ken Records says go lower, Curtis. Lower.
Don't listen to him. It's a trap.
My standards can't possibly get any lower.
All right, so we got 60, Ken Wilmot, 8 Bits in the Basement, Chris Dries, Bill Thing, Kung Coco Fu, Tom Eric Gunderson, Ken Reighard, Julian Brown, Tim Linder, let's see who we now got. Brian Walsh, Brian Blake, and I think we're caught up. Oh, Joe Love a Coco. Okay, now we're caught up.
Did you bring enough chips for all of us, Brian?
Sounds
Joel AV CoCo.
All right.
That's Joel AV.
Let's see. So, shall we do project updates or shall we get an update from Curtis?
Well, that's kind of an update.
I'm still loading tabs, so
that's actually an acquisition, I guess.
All right. So, yeah, okay, that's an acquisition. There we go. So let me close this.
We'll just all say congratulations to Curtis and
Or condolences, whichever you feel appropriate.
First one, then the other.
Okay, project updates. Let's start off with Alan.
Okay, not really project updates so much as acquisitions. And one of the big ones was getting my MC10 pimped out with a PiKey, upgrade the internal RAM to 8K, get it ready for CoCo VGA drop in when that becomes available again real soon now, according to little internet rumors that I keep making up. So if you're not familiar with the MC10, it's the CoCo's little cousin. Comes with 4K by default and the keyboard that was better than its competitors, but still not actually usable by normal sized folks. But with enough love, it has become a rather interesting piece of gear. There's tons and tons of add-ons available for them now. And thanks to Jim Gerrie and Greg Dion and others, there are just a giant pile of software that wasn't available during the day. So, yeah, I ended up with one, and now with the ability to actually type on it and use joysticks and stuff, it's actually a pretty fun little machine, and there's a lot of really great software out there for it that
thank you, Jim Gerrie.
Yeah, it just really illustrate that this was a lot more machine than it seemed at the time. So getting that done was nice. I've been holding on that for far too long.
Does the fan that you put in make a lot of noise?
Nope, no fan yet.
I know.
And one of the things that now that I've got it back, I can actually do was to take Ken Wilmot's MC10 mate board, which makes the M8 bus from his small single board computer guys available on the MC10 as well, and test out this back porch cartridge, which gives you 8 flash ROM banks and an ACIA serial port for hardware. On it is an actual monitor program for the 6803. With the serial port, you can completely debug and have fun with what's going on in the MC10 from an external serial terminal or from CoCo 3 or wherever. So that's been kind of cool to play with. And I have another mystery board that I will be trying to get working on this MC10 mate adapter as well. So lots and lots of stuff been going on with the MC10 around the house.
Is that like an MPI sort of?
Um, Actually, great question, Ron. And yes, because the MC10 mate board is really just one slot, but he has a 3-slot version as well that goes on the MC10. And
software
so,
selectable.
yeah, it makes it like an MPI. So
Neat.
interesting. I didn't get the 3-slot one. I got one of the 1-slot ones, and that's getting that working. I was like, how does this even go? I don't know. And now I got it, all the memory mapping and everything. It's great. The next thing that I had going
Thank you,
on.
Ken.
What?
Thank you, Ken. He's in the.
Oh yeah. The next thing I've got going on besides all the MC10 fun is since I got the MC10 done, I went ahead and asked Brendan about getting a couple of CoCo XSID cartridges so that I can do Commodore 64 style SID chip music in stereo on a CoCo.
Brendan Donahue.
Yeah. And I know. Years ago, I wondered why no one had made a SID for the CoCo, and I realized that the answer was probably that that's some form of evil heresy or something.
Correct.
So I didn't suggest it, but someone else did it, and so I'm on board. So yeah, CoCo X SIDs, very cool. And there is available driver code and some initial apps and things available for these as well.
No demo yet?
No, I haven't put a demo together for it, but there is some demo code that Sheldon McDonald did that is actually pretty nice. I mean, we've been able to play SID style music on the CoCo for several years because of Remy's player, and there's people that have done like wavetable samples of the SID waveforms and reconstructed something that's very close to the original SID sound. But these use the FPGA SID recreations. No actual SIDs were harmed in the making of this, by the way, for all the CoCo C64 folks that might freak out going, what'd you do to the SID? No, my original SIDs are all good, still in my C64.
Oh, the Commodore people would track him down and do evil things.
Is that because the chips aren't made anymore? Is that why?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're extremely finicky.
That too.
The SID chip is a combination of a digital and analog set of circuits in the same package. And because of the analog nature of some of the filtering and effects generation, every SID chip by serial number has a slightly different sound than the others. And there are people that can tell the difference, and there are people that have tracked which particular songs sound best on which kinds of serial number runs and things like that. Because the analog nature of the circuit doesn't reproduce exactly from run to run to run the exact same way. So there are subtle differences. And people who use these to make music, they're very specific about, no, I want this C64 to make the sounds for this particular thing in my tracker. So yeah, you start messing around with taking SIDs apart and stuff like that, people can get internety about it. So anyway, CoCo X SIDs.
So how do they do the analog on an FPGA? Is that something FPGAs do, or is that DSP?
They kind of fake it, as far as I can tell, in the circuitry.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds good enough, even though I'm very particular about like my particular C64 with its SIDs versus these. I can tell the difference, but I don't mind because
so maybe some kind of wavetable.
That's another way to do it, and that's the way it was done in software for playing SID music on a CoCo already.
I see. I just wonder what those. Are you going to have quadraphonic sound?
Again on the CoCo, I might. I did do that a long time ago because I like the thing back in that.
So a SID physically presents a whole lot of registers.
Oh yes, it does. And this
how do they fit that into the CoCo's I/O space?
It basically carpet bombs it with a whole bunch of ports.
Okay.
Yeah, there's I mean it's a giant table of doom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you get the real SID experience. Definitely trying to program it. And the last thing that I wanted to do for this week is, especially since Strick's here, thank you, Strick,
All
for
right, number 47. Good.
CoPico Centipede 32Z CoCo Fest Lovely Edition. This guy, I was like, what do I do with it? I want to do something that would be very cool and new and different that Strick hadn't already figured out. And I figured out something, and I didn't tell him. But then I also asked, what else could you do with it? Could you make this be something like the CoCo IO? Yeah. And I was thinking, well, maybe what about sound cartridge like an Orchestra 90? And yeah, you could do those kinds of things with it. The version that he sent me had two ideas that came with it to begin with. One was FujiNet adapter hat to make like a FujiNet available through, or make the CoPico Centipede into a FujiNet kind of adapter, which is very cool. And this little breadboardy kind of guy, which I'm like, well, okay, I'm terrible at soldering. I mean, not as bad as L. Curtis Boyle, but it's not too far off.
That's not possible.
That means he knows which end of the soldering iron to hold.
I do. I don't smell burnt chicken often, but I did figure out something I could possibly do with this, which would be to plug MIDI ports into it and use this as a MIDI hat on the CoPico. So that's my updates. Lots and lots of acquisitions of fun stuff to figure out and noodle on.
Okay.
We were just real quick, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole right now. Just we were talking about the MC10 PiKey, and we were chatting this morning on Discord. There was a handful of us that were out there, and one of the ideas, I don't know, this kind of popped in my brain. So the PiKey allows you to plug in a digital joystick into it, and then as far as the MC10 goes, when you move the joystick up or down, left or right, it's actually emulating a key press on the keyboard. So the MC10 thinks you're pressing like the letters K or L or O or whatever you program. That's how that PiKey works, which allows you to play a game on the MC10. And so we were talking about that, and I thought to myself, well, why couldn't we do that with a CoCo? Why couldn't we have a PiKey of sorts that works with the CoCo, where it would plug into the edge card connector on the CoCo, and then you could have an edge card connector on this little board, which could plug into so you could plug the joystick back into it. But then on this board, you would add, in effect, like 2 joystick ports like you do for the PiKey. And it would allow you to have 4 joysticks on a CoCo, and you could make, and we started brainstorming that whole thing, and it kind of spawned into like a 4-person game, like Tank Shooter or something like that, where you could have like 4 tanks on the screen and 4 people could be playing at the same time. Yeah. So we went down that rabbit hole on the Discord, but we were just kind of, when Alan was showing that, we were just kind of talking about that how hard would it be to recreate like a PiKey type of interface, where so basically you would have to write your game where it's reading the joystick ports, but it also have to be reading the keyboard. So this thing would emulate. Yep. So it would emulate. Because some games out there do actually work off a keyboard only, but the idea is you could use a digital joystick to do the same thing. So I don't know. It was kind of an idea. We kind of brainstormed with that, and it spawned into like FujiNet, and it was just all sorts of ideas that started going with it. But anyway, don't go down the rabbit hole, but I was just kind of throwing that out there. It was kind of a fun conversation we had earlier.
You just have to make a little board that goes under the PIA for the keyboard, so it slides in there, and then it would be able to basically emulate the PIA.
Right. So the idea is when you move the joystick forward, the CoCo thinks you're pressing like the letter
Right.
O or whatever keys you're trying to do on it. So it would just it would emulate that is what it's doing. So But
then you got to find 4 people that play with you.
Well, I know. Well,
Three, I guess.
Well,
Details.
developing multiplayer games, more of them, would also be of benefit for the FujiNet side of things as well, because you could support 4 local players or have Fuji
Right.
seats fill in
Yep.
for the local players that aren't available.
Yep. So anyway, it was a fun conversation. We kind of went down a rabbit hole for about 30 minutes talking about it. It was fun. Who else was on there with us, Alan? We were chatting with
Was
Erico was on.
Yeah, it was Erico. That's who it was. Erico was on. Yeah, we were talking about that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. So anyway, proceed, guys. It was just a fun conversation.
Nice.
So yeah,
All right.
these are very cool cartridges, and once you start getting your head around how and what it does, the ideas begin to percolate. So unfortunately,
Henry-
I'm kind of late to the party compared to, say, I don't know, Strick.
So Henry, take it away if I can find the spotlight.
All right, we need to accelerate on getting those available to people. So I'll be sending a box to Patrick really soon now. Like,
Sweet. I'll get the
I should
website
take
warmed
the
up.
post office on Monday.
You're not
Get
in
the
a coffee
printer
shop?
started. You gotta make some boxes to put these in.
Yeah, it's kind of might be a little bit hard because we don't have a really good spec for what shape a board that plugs into the
Right,
expansion
right.
port there is. Those two little cards that Exile in Paradise was showing us are designed to plug into this.
It kind of flies off to the corner, doesn't it?
Yeah,
like-
they kind of fly off the way I've been doing it. It's not
So I-
the
so I
world's
could
best
leave a-
design.
So I
but
could
it
leave a
did-
cutoff in the printed case, and that way you could plug in the hat and
Yeah, it did
Whatever,
solve
it
my
needs to be on
problem
there.
though. Like how much hardware to try to jam onto this board, and the answer is just put a socket.
no, yeah,
It's
hat idea
got-
is a great concept.
It's
What
got
do
a
you need
bunch of
this week?
GPIO lines.
Plug that into it. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
it.
so it's really designed to speak GPIO to the Pico, and then your firmware on the Pico presents an interface to the CoCo for how to get at that hardware. And that's exactly what I'm going to demo today. I failed to get my major project working in time. So this morning I said, why don't I just tackle something real simple this morning and have a working demo. And so I built an Orchestra 90 card out of the PiPico here,
Nice.
which is basically pick two of the GPIO lines that are coming out on this socket, call one left and call the other right, and configure the RP2350 here to output pulse width modulation, PWM, at a very rapid rate on those lines. And if your speakers only are reproducing audio instead of radio waves, then they will see the width of the pulses all smoothed out, and it'll look like an analog output going to them. That's a very, very standard technique. So, I'm going to present and show you a few things, and then I'll go back to the camera for the final demo. And I'm on original sound for musicians, so you'll be able to hear it. I'll be curious if we get reports on what other artifacts happen because I'm on that instead of using the normal zoom mode. So share, and desktop 1, share it. Okay, everybody sees a chip there? Yeah.
Colorful.
And let's start with a basic program here. This is exactly what I'm going to run, except that I've changed parameter M on line number 2 to be 70. But notice lines 30 and 33 in the very middle are doing pokes to FF7B. FF7A and FF7B are the left and right channels, ports on an Orchestra 90. And basically, what exists at those ports are just an 8-bit latch at each one, and then a digital to analog converter as a resistor ladder, and that's exactly what goes to your amplifier and your speakers. And I thought about it, and from the slowness of a basic program instead of assembly language, what could I kind of demo? And I just kind of evolved this program this morning. But that line 30 and 33 is really what to keep in mind, that we're poking a voltage level from 0 to 255, which is really 0 to 3.3 volts in actual voltage range onto that port. And where does that port come out on the Centipede card? Well, let's go into KiCad, or KiCad, KICAD is the name of the program.
They say it both ways in the same conference. The same guy.
Yeah, okay, and I do it in the same sentence as well. So, that solves all problems for me. If I take the attitude that in the English language, when you have a kind of a word that looks foreign, you can anglicize it as much or as little as you want, and it's all right. So this is the Centipede board. That's the RP2350 processor sitting in the middle, and the 60-pin dip that looked like a centipede to me when I named this. But I want to go in this upper corner and look at J3, and we've got a ground on pin 6 and GPIOs 10 and 11 on pins 5 and pin 7 here. So that's what I'm going to use for my outputs, is those two pins right there. And in the firmware, I made a new file, orchestra90.h. I'm doing a header-only approach to this C++ code. Instead of having lots of little separately compiled modules, let it compile it all together and do lots of optimizations. Here is the magic that outputs a voltage on the left channel, so called right left, and here's right channel, and it's channel B within the 5th PWM module. And when I say output a voltage, if you squint your eyes over time, it's the average voltage of it, because really it's a square wave pulse that's just modifying its what do you call the ratio of up to down, the duty cycle. And inside the firmware, to make those ports active, I have I/O writers for the top page, the FF page, and so at FF7A we'll call this, and at FF7B we'll call that. And that's all I need to do to slot the hardware in there. Now there's some initialization to the hardware, and this is how you talk to RP2350, the Raspberry Pi Pico processor, to assign those pins to these functions and initialize it and enable it to run. And then from my main code, I just init the hardware and init the ports. Remember, init ports is what plugs those in, so there'll be a non-zero function pointer in these things when the CoCo is writing to those port numbers. So that was really easy to build that piece of virtual hardware. And I think at this point, yeah, it's time to quit sharing and do the demo. So stop share. Take my little camera on a road trip. That's a CoCo 2. 16K of RAM. That's enough for what we're doing today. And on the screen, it's harder to see with the glare, but same program I showed you earlier, except line 2, M equals 70 instead of 90. And over here in the centipede, there's 3 pins that I've got plugs into, so I can get the ground, the left and the right. And I've only wired up the right. It goes through a resistor there. That's about 900 ohms, I think. I first tried anyway, I tried one resistor and then I tried another, and I forget the value. And then what does that do? That goes to a speaker that's sitting over there by just connecting onto the thing. So I haven't done a great job, but what we want to do is want to hear a horrible noise when I type run. Alright, and if you've ever messed with modular synthesizers, you know that's really easy to create things that sound like broken helicopters. And
I thought you almost got it started, man.
Yeah, and since it's interpreted basic code, whatever I'm doing is running slowly, and so we get really low tones coming out of it. But if I'd written in assembly language and got the timing right, it might be close to what your Orchestra 90 actually does. So there's a demo to inspire people once they get their centipedes to try building new hardware out of it. And Alan is waving his centipede, if that's visible on the broadcast screen. All right, that's my demo for today. Oh, and Bill Athing just joined in, which reminds me, I meant to say, when Alan showed the little hat that was designed for FujiNet, and he's waving that if it's visible. Bill Athing has about 6 edits to make to that, because 1, I probably made a mistake, and 2, they chose a different set of input and output pins to do. So there's 2 resistors that you pop off of the board, and 4 bodge wires, I think, that you put on there. So if anybody else has one of those and you're trying to make it work, do talk to Bill Athing for details, or myself, and I should try to do a new run of those hats with the corrections on it, so that we have easier boards for experimenting with FujiNet through the centipede. Okay, questions?
We're waiting patiently.
I'm sorry, Patrick?
We're waiting patiently.
Okay, waiting patiently.
Everyone wants one. We want to play with these things.
All right.
Go, man, go.
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple of other things I got running that aren't really good demo material yet. One is I've got the little file system in the Pico's firmware now, and it uses, there's 16 megs of flash memory on that centipede, and your program uses less than a meg for the firmware. So what do you do with all the rest of that? Well, I've now got, I think, 11 megs available in a little file system, so we can have versions of OS 9 that you want to load and run that you could actually use without being tethered to your PC.
Nice.
Wavetables and mod files for music and stuff like that.
So there's not as much room in that megabytes as you might think there is.
You might run out of 11 megabytes pretty quickly. but it'll hold a nice tree of OS 9 software for you. And what was the other thing I got running? Oh, I took the scripting language called TCL, Tickle.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a very old version, 6.7, before it started getting bigger and bloated. And had Jim and I convert it so it could be compiled under modern GCC and have it embedded in there as well. And
Wow.
so,
There's a lot of tickle scripts in the world, and a lot of people that wrote them. So
yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
hate Tickle, and so I chose it for for the embedded scripting language here. It doesn't have to be fast to configure stuff, and that's actually what Tickle was originally written for, is for one big chunk of C code to tell another big
My
chunk
last
of C
employer-
code how to configure yourself. If you go back to the roots of it, you'll find that, and that's why it was designed so well for that. All right, now let's try again. I'm going to quit talking and pass it to Marco.
Okay. Do we have any other project updates?
I would like to make an observation, if I may.
Okay.
And Bigamy, and I'll show you something.
Oh, okay.
This is probably a little bit lame, but I'm going to do it anyway. So here is our lovely view from yesterday. Little bit of Canada has come our way,
Yeah, looks a little bit hazy.
and it looked familiar to me for some reason. I couldn't quite place it, but I figured it out. And I can't click the button to go forward because I would if I could. Where's my cursor? Come back. And this is what I was seeing.
No Corona strips.
4 colors of green, nothing more. We got the close green, we got the medium green, we got the far green, and we got the sky. That's pretty much CoCo graphics in a nutshell, right there. So, anyway, as lame as it was, that was my observation. Things looked really strange. I was driving through H-screen graphics all day Thursday, Wednesday, one of those days.
Okay.
So I did write a web-based tool for you to do a better job of converting your images into CoCo-friendly colors and things.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Okay, hey guys, I'm sorry I signed in late, but you guys were talking about several things that I had to bring a little bit of input on. Henry was talking about the FujiNet for Centipede, and yeah, there's some bodge wires, all that, and all that. So they're kind of implemented on this device, but and it all works. And whoever wants to try it, I'll send you the instructions and there's a little bit of different software load for the FujiNet device. I'll give you that too. But I also, because this came up in the talk, I had 3D printed a case. And so
it does all that.
Yeah. So it's got like a outrigger to hold the FujiNet
a wart
and support it. Yeah.
And support it. And it's like that's very highly tuned, and it's not, showing off real well here, but snaps together. I'm trying to figure out if I can share this case design. I have it up on my Tinkercad website, but I started with somebody else's case, and I'm not sure what the rules were for sharing that, but I think if it's, I'll see if I can dig out where that is.
For whatever it's worth, I've drawn the whole Tandy case set myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I have original work to use for all this. I should just put it all up on GitHub and let people wreck it. But I drew it in FreeCAD, which is a horrible thing to try to modify. It builds really fragile models, and it's really hard to change them. So I've kind of pulled back on sharing these, because what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You can print the thing that it is, but once you try to change it, FreeCAD goes. It's got to start from the beginning. So I need a better program, I guess. But anyway.
So Bill has a Commodore.
Uh-oh. You're not supposed to see that.
oh, Jesus. Mine's showing too.
we were talking. I have, on this side, there's a Commodore 64 Ultimate. You can't.
I was looking at the PET.
Oh, yeah, the Super PET.
Big Commodore.
Yeah. Oh, Super PET.
Now, I have this board here, which has an interface to the keyboard on the CoCo. It's got a USB port, courtesy of a Raspberry Pi Pico, and a DB9 joystick port. We were talking about this earlier. So the software is not functional on this yet, but it actually it functions as both ends of the keyboard interface. The idea was I put this on one of Coconut Bob's Artemis keyboards, and then it would export USB from a CoCo keyboard, a real CoCo keyboard or Artemis, and then go back to the CoCo, and then have a and this it's all sort of functional. It has more tuning to do, but I'll share that when it's done too. But I don't.
There you go, Brian.
Not my highest priority tool or project right now. So thought I should share that too.
Glad you did.
I'm just surprised that people are actually listening to us. No.
Strange but true.
And I got one other thing I can share too that I've been working on this week. That I wasn't sure I was going to be joining, but I have FujiNet running on the Dragon. Got my rulers in the way here. But I added the splash screen to the config loader. So
nice.
That took a bunch of time, and I went back and in addition to that, I actually in order to make it work on Dragon, I had to compress the bootloader splash screen, and so I ported that over to CoCo. And so on a CoCo 1, CoCo 2 FujiNet, where the serial is a little bit slow, it loads about 5 seconds faster or something like that because it's compressed now. So good stuff. I'll have that up on GitHub later this week for any
5 seconds doesn't sound like much until the 57th time you've saved that 5 seconds.
Exactly.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. It feels like a big savings.
Quality of life.
Yeah. So,
is there any updates on the cartridge only version of FujiNet?
Yeah, it's in work, several different versions of it. I'm hoping to share something on that on next week's show, actually. Cool. But I have it running on Centipede, so I can show that next week too.
The more stuff you have in the background there, the higher your IQ.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit messy. Sorry.
No, it's good.
Oh, good.
Sitting there looking at all your stuff.
You're among friends. We understand.
Yeah.
Right.
What's he got?
It's my lab.
What's that?
We admire a pile like that.
Yes, we do.
And want one of our own.
And did I mention your shirt's great too?
Bias.
Well designed.
Bias. Yeah. Slight bias.
I have a couple things I can run through in about 10 minutes.
Cool. In 10 minutes or takes 10 minutes?
No, in 10 minutes, just some quick show and tell. So nothing that's going to do some discussion whenever you're ready. So,
actually,
we don't have any game people.
Actually, we're ready.
Okay, I didn't know if you had a order or whatever or a sequence. But,
yeah, and I already put you on the list.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, go ahead. No, I'm not in any rush. If you got somebody else, then go.
No, you're up.
Oh,
Brian,
please,
Brian, if you show up, you're automatically on the list unless you tell us otherwise.
Oh, I see.
Right, unless you say,
that's
hey,
the criteria.
I'm just here.
Okay.
It's assumed.
Okay, I got you now. Okay. So, maybe 6 months ago, I had bought this disk drive, and on the back of the disk drive, or actually the cartridge that was on the disk drive, on the side that would plug into the CoCo, this was hanging there. And let me move it up here a little bit here. Here we are. It was edge card connector, and you can see the back is off of it because it just got literally ripped off of the ribbon cable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, scrolling through eBay, as I tend to do from time to time.
Really?
I saw this ribbon cable that a seller was selling, and it happened to be the same seller that this disk drive came from, and I saw this number 1. And I noticed as I looked at the picture, there was something right here. So this, so he was selling this, but so this must have got ripped off at one time or whatever. Who knows, and was laying in a box. No. He's like, oh, better sell this, whatever. But so yeah, I could basically put it back together. But what I don't have is the the piece on the back there. But
you
anyway.
win collecting. You win collecting. That's it.
I just thought that 6 months
It's a
later,
match.
if the other part would go to it,
I found two pieces, probably from two different vendors from different states, and they all matched together. And
yeah, so I just thought that was kind of fun, though. These are kind of cool. I wish we could find a source for these things. This connector.
Oh yeah, to make real Y cables again.
Yeah, I mean these are obtainable, but finding something like this that goes on a ribbon cable like that, I'm sure there's maybe a source out there somewhere, but I've not stumbled across it yet.
Couldn't that be 3D printed?
Well, not the electrical contacts.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. So back in the day, what I had done is I just had the female connectors on all three, and then I had a little circuit board that was male to male.
Oh yeah, male to male.
And you could shove it into there, and that gave you this. So you put it into here, and it gave you this.
You got one of those.
So,
right.
Yep.
Since you can make circuit boards relatively easy these days, it may be more of a doable thing than
that would be.
So it's male to male. Is that a trans cable then?
This would be just a ribbon cable. Just it would give you three. You could plug it in there.
We're just gonna fly past that one, Ron.
Yep. So,
Brian, is that a drive cable, or is that like a Y cable for the
a Y cable
connector?
Yeah, it'd be a Y cable. Yeah, this would go into the CoCo, and then you could plug like your, it would have to be non-conflicting devices.
Yeah, because that's basically the same thing the TC9 was sold with, because there was no multi-pack in there, but it had multiple slots for like a hard drive controller and a floppy controller.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you don't need to have anything that's addressable, it would.
They're fine. Yeah.
This worked just fine. So yep. So that was one thing that I got. The other thing is, if you guys follow Retro Hack Check on YouTube, he recently did a video talking about a keyboard adapter that allows you to emulate or be able to use, a modern keyboard, USB keyboard and mouse with your older devices. A computer that would use like an AT or an XT keyboard. Excuse me, I'm kind of fumbling for my words a little bit. And so they were actually on back order for a while, and he finally got some more in stock. So let me move this down just a little bit here. So this is the board that he talks about, and here's where you can plug in your keyboards, and then it has a selector switch here to select the different modes, but you can also plug in PS2 type keyboards as well. It goes to, this is your input, this is your input, and then this is your output, and if you don't have it, you have to get one of those adapters that goes from a PS2 to AT type of connector. So that would plug into here. Your USB keyboard and mouse go into here, and then this is a serial output. So you could go to a serial mouse. Obviously, it's not totally CoCo related though, but for example, the AT306 and some of those next generation of machines that came out, the 68,000 machines, they use these AT keyboards and serial mouse. So that was the main reason why I got this thing here, was for that. And he also sells a little case that goes with it, so you can slide this into this little aluminum case here. And then there's another plate here. Where's it at? Here it is. I haven't attached this side yet, but this would go on this side here. I have to take these nuts off here so I can get it in place there. But it's the USB to adapter. So yeah,
that's called a Headman.
Headman, yes, thank you. Yep. I went ahead and bought some of his other cables. I probably have some of these all laying in a box, but he was selling them pretty cheap, so I went ahead and got just a handful of the different cables that he sells. That way I can kind of keep this all together in a single box and have whatever I need there. So, and
having it and knowing where it is are two separate things.
right. So I'll look forward to playing with that. I'm gonna try it out on the AT306 and the MM1. So a couple more things real quick here. Let me slide this up a little bit here. There we go. Looks like a CoCo 3 box here, right?
Seems
So-
appropriate.
Yep. So
Korean origin.
is that what it is? Is that the Korean
That's
one?
the rag box,
Yep.
because
Yep.
the
Yep.
US
Yep.
boxes were different.
Yep.
So the reason why I bought this is for one, I was looking for another box.
It was
but,
there.
It was there.
was
And
there.
so
Oh, in
so
this
inside-
case.
And so it was sold with just this is how it was sold. There was the case. It had the styrofoam in there, which is nice.
Wow.
And it has the power supply, but no board or anything like that, which is fine. I actually have a CoCo 3 board that needs a case, and I have an extra keyboard. So I now have a home for
So-
my for my extra board.
So this became a repack at some point, and here's
Maybe,
all the
yeah.
leftover bits.
That might have very well been what was the
nicely.
case was.
And
So,
it's nice and fresh because it's
in
been in the
beautiful-
box ever since it was repacked. And
Oh,
yeah,
It's in beautiful shape.
yep. So
good to go.
so I'll put the board and the keyboard that I have in there, and we'll have another all-in-one.
Yeah, you can unpack the repacks and have a real CoCo again.
Right.
How does that come in price wise compared to an actual color computer 3?
Oh, I don't remember.
third?
More than that. I think I only picked this up for $45.
Oh, okay, good. That's good.
Yeah. So yeah. It was
And
pretty
Bob
expensive.
Emery, that's how we met him, because he put up a video on YouTube about his repacked in a tower case. So
Oh
maybe
yeah.
it was
Right.
one of his. Who knows?
And yeah, with that setup there, you could take a completely crashed and run over CoCo in box and turn it back into a presentable machine again. Oh, with a multi-pack. Nice.
And to continue the theme there, this was also on eBay recently. Box for the multi-pack, the newer version, the smaller one, and it was just the box with the styrofoam, which is nice. Again, the person was selling this really cheap, and I have some that are not in a box, and I love putting it back in. I love having the original boxes. So
Stacks
so I
better.
picked that up. So yep. So I'll get one of my
Throw
one
a
of my
little silk-
multi-packs. Yep. And I can throw it in a proper box. And
throw a
then
little silica
to
gel
conti-
bag in there while you're at it.
to continue the theme,
Ooh.
a Tano Dragon box. And so yes, this is just the box, but it does have the styrofoam on the inside, which is really nice because I don't know if you guys have seen what a Tano comes packaged in. It's a full molded two halves. There's two halves of the styrofoam there. You got the bottom half and the upper half, and the dragon, the power supply, and all the little pieces and stuff like that.
Trays
All fit
to
into
work
little.
in it, yeah.
Yep.
That
yep.
looks in
It's
really
like-
good shape too.
Yes, actually, it's really good shape. I have I have a couple other Tanos, and I literally have tape holding the boxes together because
Right.
the seam is just gone to just completely deteriorated, and
Well, how old is that box? If you think of it.
probably 40 plus years old.
Yeah.
The Tano was
Right.
before the CoCo 3, so it'd be 45 years old,
Yep.
something like that.
83.
So even had this, even had the, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, even had the sticker on the side here.
Oh, nice. The sticker's almost gone, but not yet.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's hanging on there. So I do have a Tano that's not in a box. So I got some, I now have some proper homes for some machines there. So
Nicely done.
yep. So that's all I got, Mark. Just wanted to do a quick sort of a show and tell of some recent acquisitions.
Okay. Let's see. Any more project updates? Oh,
We had a few late joiners there. We got Ron Drywater. We got Nick that joined us. William's already spoken up. So
Nick's
Okay.
sleeping.
Hello from Delaware.
all right. Let's go
Hey
ahead
there, we
and
met-
do a commercial break, and we'll see if Ken has joined us by then.
Hello, everyone. It's your good buddy, your good pal, Amigo, and joined by that dastardly The Brent from ARG Presents.
You're watching CoCoNation.
I feel like this should have been longer.
The CoCoNation show would like to thank the following patrons: AC's 8-Bit Zone, Alex Gayer, Alan Huffman, Barry Tompkinson, Boys in Tech, Brendan Donaghy, Brian Blake, Brian Walsh, Brian Weasler, Kieran Anscombe, Coconut Bob, Daddy Burrito, David Ladd, Derek Smithson, Diego BF109, Don Barber, Eric Canales, Frederick Segard, Glenn Hewlett, Graham Wabke, Grant Leedy, Henry Strickland, Jason Warrens, Jim Mullis, Justin Larson, Ken Reichard, Kevin Holloway, Mark Castellan, Patrick Euland, Paul Fiscarelli, R. Allen Murphy, Richard Gore, Richard Harding, Rob Inman, Rocky Hill, Steve Batson, Terry Trapp, The Break Key, TJB Chris, Tom C., Tom Gunderson, Tom S., and William A. Thing. Thank you so much, patrons. If you would like to support the CoCoNation show, sign up at the URL listed on the screen or in the show description.
Hi, this is Mikey N6IL, and you're watching the CoCoNation, the nation's first live and interactive talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer and its hardware cousins.
Get ready for a new level of wizardly technology. CoPiCo Centipede, coming soon to a theater near you.
The CoCoNation would like to thank our Discord boosters. Poison Tech, Captain Kirchhoff, Frederick Micro Hobbyist Sigard, Glenside Computer Club, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Richard G., and Wingnut 2626. Please consider joining Discord and visiting the Welcome section to see what the community has to offer. Just go to discord.thecoconation.com.
See you on Discord.
What's that up in the sky? It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a meteor mess. Shoot down the rocks falling from the sky because, I don't know. Do not allow the spinners to land. Dodge the guided pulsars. What are they saying about Meteor Mess? Get Meteor Mess today at kenscococorner.itch.io.
Very cool.
Okay, so what do you say we break into some Game On news then?
Okay.
Let's see, where's the right button for this?
Yeah, I gotta find the right screen too.
Luckily, there's like 10,000 of them in there.
Yeah, oh, here we go.
Before I get into things here, I'd like, just from trying to catch up with the little time I've had since I got back from the honeymoon and trying to start a new job and stuff here, looks like there's been a lot of happening in the CoCo gaming world for new releases and preview releases and stuff too. So I just wanted to thank everybody that's been contributing to that. I've been seeing quite a bit of stuff coming out. There's Paul Cunningham's Star Trek game I saw. There was, of course, Ken Reighard's Astro Smash style game there. There was some stuff from Lee Perkins, which we'll be showing a little bit later here too, of his port of Montezuma's Revenge. So Nick, of course, is working on his Get Off My Lawn. So a lot of CoCo game development happening right now, and I'm looking forward to see what all comes out here in the summer and fall. Hey, first up, we got Retrobat on YouTube. Did a video showing video previews of a variety of CoCo games. I think 316 total. Now, I'm not positive, but I believe Retrobat is actually kind of a front end for an emulator. So some of the front ends allow you to do screenshots and stuff. And I think what this one does is it allows you to have a brief video clip so you can see what the game actually looks like playing while you're going. Now, I can't remember if this was kind of near the threshold of where you guys cut off last week. I didn't get a chance to fully watch the show. So, Rick, you can tell me, is this a duplicate? You guys already covered this or no?
No, this is new.
Okay. So there's a whole bunch of classics in here. It's including some Dragon ports and stuff too. So. And I think was it you? There was a similar video this last week. I think I did catch part of the show trying to catch up here, but you guys were saying you should quiz me on how many of these I recognize. If you have all the ones with the title screenshot on them, yeah, I could probably figure them out there from that. But all right, there's a lot in there. I think, like I said, 300 some odd games in there. I'm sure we haven't covered them all on the Game On Challenge yet. So if Ken or Sloopy is listening to this and needs some suggestions, mind you, we got so many new releases now. I'd probably stick with those for now. Except that I won't play it now because we just played it as our commercial in between here. But that was Ken Reighard, after releasing the game itself of Meteor Mess last week, released a YouTube video here as a promo for it, and with his typical sense of humor. And if you want to go check out all of Ken's games, and we got the show notes here of all the links for all the stories that we cover. As usual, you can find that on the CoCo Discord. And Excel in Paradise also posts them into the CoCo list on Sunday morning, usually. But you can catch all with the old stuff he's done, too. If you haven't seen some of these, or you're kind of just getting back into the CoCo recently, and you may not be aware of all the other games that Ken has done over the years, since he's been publishing them back in like World of 68 Micros and even Rainbow back in the day. So there's a whole bunch you can download here, some rather famous ones, too, like Nightmare Highway. And now Meteor Mess. You can also find some other CoCo people like Paul Shoemaker. All of his games are on there. Nick Marentes, he's got all of his games on there as well. And Paul Thayer as well, I think, too. Anybody else? Is there any other people that have their CoCo games on HIO that anybody remembers? I'm sure I'm missing a few others.
Well, you've got stuff like UG Basic as well. There is probably a good opportunity to make a list of all the different resources that are out there on itch for the CoCo and the MC10, because I tend to bookmark them as I go through them. So, and yeah, I've got like 60 something. So there's a bunch of stuff out there.
Yeah, and the nice thing about the HIO is if you want to support the author, you can actually, even if they save the game, you can download it for free to try it. They do have the option of you can present your own amount of money if you think it's worth it, or just want to encourage the author to continue developing CoCo games. Some are actually meant to be strictly commercial, but it's nice having that option. So even if the person is kind of modest and I don't think this game's worth anything, you can still give them some money.
Yeah, you can find Space Warp is on itch.io as well, and yeah, and it's that kind of thing. It's free. You can download it. You can actually play it online if you want. But set up for donations. It makes you feel good when somebody buys your game.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out. I think Paul is obviously the most common name of a CoCo game author on itch.io, because we got Paul Shoemaker, we've got Cunningham, Paul Thayer.
Oh, the Pauls.
I can't remember if the other Paul Fiscarelli, he's done some games. Did he put him on itch.io too? I don't know. All right, next speak new in games, Lance Schafhausen, and he's just come back to the CoCo recently, from what I understand, and he posted the last few weeks about a developed game he's developing called Gruntely's Dungeon, which is basically an escape the dungeon type thing. And he did a little bit of an update here this past week where he added some cover art for it, you can see. And I can't remember if he's got this actually up for download yet or not. But it's like the gameplay is over here on the left, so just using Semi-Graphics 4, but then he's got this nice cover art for it too. And it's, I believe it's going to be a free one if it's not out already. So yet another new game for the CoCo. So Alex Gayer also released a Battleship clone, which he said should be playable in Disk Extended Basic with 32K or more. He said this is a rough draft, so this is kind of an early release of it for people to try. But he said it is playable, and he just won 3 games. It's really just an output test of the preprocessor and IDE that he's working on. We thought he'd share the fun. So if you're on the CoCo Facebook group, you can go download the actual version 1 of the working disk of it. And here's an example that he posted in a separate post here showing the IDE. So basically he's running the emulator over here, and he's got his own IDE that he wrote up fairly quickly in Linux KDE GNOME, planning eventually to port it to Windows as well. And he said CoCo 3 Disk Extended Basic is the priority for now, but will soon be able to target other system specifications, maybe even cassettes. Very beta for now, but hopeful. So some more IDE development there for CoCo projects as well. Next up, Dr. Boisy Pitre. Actually, he did, I think last week you guys covered, he did a port of Raka 2, which was originally by Robert Arnstein. And that was originally for the model 1, 2, or 1 and 3, I think it was. Because he did 3 games. He did Pyramid 2000, Bedlam, and Raka 2. And the CoCo got a cassette version of that, 16K. I actually owned all 3 of those at one point. I think I still have some of them, actually. But this person here that Boisy's mentioned, Boisy didn't do this port himself, a guy named Rich Lucente, has been working on an OS9-based Infocom interpreter. So aside from the Robert Arnstein, I can't remember the name of his company that he did his games for the CoCo and the Model 1 and 3, but Infocom obviously is like world famous for being an interactive fiction more than just a plain 2-word parser. You could do full sentences, you could string multiple commands together in a sentence. The descriptions were very, very large. And of course, they did classics like Hitchhiker's Guide, all the Zorks, Witness, Planetfall, a whole bunch of them, which Tandy did sell a lot of. But they're all based on kind of a custom disk format for Disk Basic, where it basically treated the disk as a raw set of sectors and it would just jump around between. But this guy's actually done a port to OS9 in assembly. But that means you can play all these games, or we'll be able to. I haven't had a chance to try this first release because it's kind of putting it out there for people to try. But it would be interesting to see, like, is he also supporting, because it's running under OS9, if he's supporting it for the CoCo 3, can you run it on a 40-column or 80-column screen? There's been some patches to the Infocom interpreters for the CoCo Disk Basic stuff to do exactly that. But I mean, you could even go fancier and, like, port it to a graphics window with a custom font or something like that. Maybe add some extra things like that too. So I haven't had a chance to try this yet. I don't know if anybody in the panel or in the chat has.
I haven't, but it's on my inbox list right here for the exact same reasons. Yeah, this is exciting.
Further down in this post, he lists the GitHub to his Reka 2 C code.
Yeah, because he ported it in C. The original was in assembly. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a bundle with his Reka 2 Z code and this, I think, all together listed in the same.
Yeah, I mean that's
so look it up.
The Raka 2 engine should be the same as Bedlam and Pyramid 2000. So those two should be easy to port now after his initial port. And I mean, all the Infocom ones, there's a ton of them. Now, one thing I want to ask, and I think Exile in Paradise, you probably remember this or not, because I don't remember off the top of my head. He said that this is running the version 3 story files. Now, there's different versions of the Infocom interpreter. I'm trying to remember how recent is that one compared to the ones where the DOS
the V3 are the main story files that are out there. And what that actually is the specification for the Z machine memory map itself and how it works and what operation codes are supported. So V3 is that's your when people say Infocom and think Infocom, that's what they think is the games that ended up in V3. But Infocom kept going, and as they added more features to the Z machine, they had V4, V5, and I think they went as far as V8 by the end, where you've got things like mouse controls, more sounds, the ability to split the text screen into different zones, things like that. And the story file format only supports the opcodes in it that the Z machine is able to interpret. So if you have a V5 story file, you need a V5 or later Z machine to play it. So there are some of the newer games won't play on OS9 with this yet, but once it's been ported to a thing, it starts to become easier to add the rest of the opcodes. And so it would not surprise me at all if adding at least up to V5, because that gets you probably 90% of the games Infocom ever did, is just around the corner for somebody that as capable as what he's been doing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. There is new games from Puddle Forge, for example, that are V3, and the latest one, Hibernated 2, was a V5, and I kind of wanted to get that one going. So it looks like we're getting very close to that. V4, there's not many of those files out there, but it looks like a very easy add for the opcodes for that. But V5 brings a lot of stuff and takes a lot more memory management and swap file management and things like that, because it's designed for a much bigger size of virtual Z machine interpreter. So it's like 128K instead of the 40K minimum that the V3 files wanted, things like that. So the V5 is a lot tougher stretch for an emulator or a Z machine interpreter to get to. But as fast as this is going, if he's interested in doing it, and I hope he is, I wouldn't expect him to have to be too far gone on it. And if you're only doing the text mode games that don't need the graphical window and mouse type things, a subset of V5 might start bringing some of the games online to begin with.
Yeah, because one thing I remember is the original Infocom interpreter, the original assembly one. I mean, all the low level I/O, all the screen stuff was all built in. Basically, it had its own drivers built into the engine. And if you're doing under OS 9, you can start calling those. And if you have ranges on the screen, you can do change working areas and stuff like that to simulate it without having to write any code to do it at all. So that might actually give you a bit of freedom.
If you read the source for the CoCo Z machine. And thank you, John Linville, and was it Carlos Camacho went up there and got it from Professor Moriarty. John did a really great package of the original zip source to have like a version D interpreter for it and things like that. When you look in that source code, the thing that cracks me up the most is the input and output is literal copies of unraveled code. And it's the Deck B 1.0 version of the DiskCon routine, not even the 1.1.
I did want to notice one comment here. Maybe you can comment on that too. Joel Evie mentioned, the Infocom sources actually had some hints that an OS 9 version was contemplated. I haven't actually looked at that close.
It's in the comments. The person that was packaging it up and dealing with it later, I think their initials were ASK. I wasn't able to figure out who that was, but whoever ASK was, they were talking about, we're adding this just for OS 9 required, blah, blah, blah. Those comments were 85, I think, 1985. So they were looking at it and then apparently just didn't get there.
Yeah, because 85, they would have placed it in the CoCo 1.2 level 1 era.
And early, hey, we're about to bring out a new machine. Do you want to bring this, bring this up and over? But it's kind of weird because they're talking about things like OS 9, but they didn't get any support from Tandy on, how to do the I/O or anything. They actually copied the unraveled books. So, yeah, okay. And then they had to add a Tandy bit, which John Linville did. He did a patch that lets you enable or disable that as you choose. And the Tandy bit changes the wording in some of the games to be more Tandy family friendly. And you want to talk about obviously, when I saw that patch, I figured John was a super fan because he wanted the original game unchanged.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember who did the patches to run it in 80 column before, because that was even done, I think. Was that John or somebody else?
Zipster did some, and there's a CoCo VGA patch to run it in 64 columns.
Oh, right, yeah, for the CoCo 1 and 2 for the CoCo VGA.
And Darren did the MC10 V3 Z machine interpreter. So you can play all these on the MC10 as well. But yeah, who did the other 80 column one? Darn it, it's not coming to me at the moment, but it is out there.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm taking a look at 51 columns as well, even on the Dragon. So
yeah, on the graphic screen. I'm just taking a look at the first time I've actually had a chance to actually get to his GitHub here, but he mentions here full integration of those Nitrosine memory management, terminal drivers, support for level 1 and level 2. So we're going to be doing more on 80 column screens on the CoCo 3. A dynamic virtual memory paging system with cache eviction is kind of sounding like what you were talking about for the version 5, right? So has he already got some of this kind of built in?
It does manage its own memory even in the 40K version. The Z machine, it brings in story blocks from the story file in and out of memory as necessary, even in the original like V1, V2 files. It's very small for like the Apple II with 40K of RAM or less and things like that. But it doesn't bring the entire story file in ever. It brings it in
just the parts that are needed
as
right now for the current
page
display.
memory. Right? And when you save the game, what you're actually doing is just saving a RAM snapshot of all the variables that are stored in the invariant part. And on the CoCo, the save file format is essentially, they just take the range of tracks, divide it by 6, and your save slot is just writing the memory dump into track set 1 through 5, or then 6 through 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is why you don't want to save on your original disk.
Like there wasn't really a file system per se on there. There was no directory.
It's all just
raw
block
sector
management.
IO.
Yeah. That's why all they needed was DiskCon out of Unraveled.
So yeah, I'm kind of intrigued here because I think he's kind of got hints here.
I'm hoping he's going for the V5 because that's, plus on OS 9, you get up to 8 megs worth of that. You could build, way bigger than Hibernated 2, for example, into that sort of a
Well, just running on a virtual hard drive or a real hard drive or an SCC where you've got 128 meg there.
Yeah, super exciting.
And as you were mentioning, like some of the screen stuff they had in version 5 for doing, different areas of the screen scroll separately from each other. Well, that's all built into OS 9, so that'd be pretty easy to add. Anyway, yeah, if you get a chance to try it here before next week, maybe do us a little demo here.
I hope I can.
We'll try. So yeah, I'm definitely excited about that. So we're getting 2 sets of classic text adventures added to OS 9 now. The Infocom, they've got Zork as a sample when you can download to try this early version of it. And then Boisy doing the port of Bracket 2. I don't know if he's planning on porting Bedlam and Pyramid 2000 as well, but that would cover the Robert Arnstein selection of text adventures that the Model 1, 3, and CoCo all had too. Next up is that Richard Kelly. He's been working on this for a while. Ugly Transforming Maze. This is based on one of the Game On Challenge ones recently, written by and ported by Jim Gerrie, if I remember correctly. Richard was trying to speed up the apparent gameplay and also, change a little bit of how it functions type thing. And he's released his version 1.0 of this if you want to download that from the CoCo Facebook group as well. Goal is simple, make it to the exit of the maze as quickly as you can. The catch, the maze is changing as you do it. You can use joystick or keyboard controls on this one, which I think the original was keyboard only. You can also blast holes in the walls, but you lose 100 time units doing that. So use sparingly if you want to get a good score type thing. And he did release a video gameplay of it here that's actually quite long. I won't play the whole thing. But it actually looks like it's coming along at a pretty good clip. Because the old one, if I remember, was trying to redraw the whole maze every time, and it was fairly slow. And that's your RGB composite if you're running on a CoCo 3, basically. A little bit of a high score table by different skill levels here. Some built-in instructions. Go find the actual gameplay here. So you're the dot that keeps changing colors. The maze is basically set up as a 32 by 15, using the full-size blocks so you don't get color bleed between the semi-graphics pixels. But you can see it, instead of redrawing the whole thing top to bottom, it's kind of just jumping all over the place and doing it. And I think it looks actually a lot smoother than the original. And it seems to play at a pretty good clip. And definitely a challenge. And he has some different levels too that have different background colors. I think he has one where he demonstrates the blowing up too. I don't remember what that was, but I did see him blow up some walls. Oh, there we go. Let's rewind it a little bit. It's on the bottom part here in the video. So basically, it'll blow up everything around you in a cross shape. So yeah, thanks to Richard. He's been doing a lot of really cool basic games over the last few years, actually. He's got some P-Mode 4 ones. He's got some semi-graphics ones. And he's pretty good at optimizing basic, too. He's been getting these games actually running at a pretty good clip, which is really, really cool. Next up, Jim Gerrie, and he did something a little bit different this time. He actually returned to the CoCo rather than doing an MC10. So this is actually a CoCo game. He's the first time in a while he's done that. He's done them before. He's even done some OS 9, Basic 9 stuff. If you can get off his website, he's got a few dozen of those as well, even some CoCo 3 stuff. But he's been kind of documenting in the last year or two software published way back in the 70s and 80s, but published by Canadians because he's Canadian as well. And it's not really that well documented. So this was written by fellow Connect Jeff Stark in 1984 and is actually published in one of the Rainbow Books simulation books for the contest, similar to the adventure one. I think they had 2 of them that they went through. And this one's called the Martian Lander Simulator. And it's a mix of text and graphics and actually looks fairly complicated. The video of the gameplay is 14 and a half minutes long. So obviously I'm not going to play the whole thing here unless you guys really want to be bored. But you've got a kind of a nice little interaction place. You got your commands. You got these little kind of like tabs even built in, which for 84 is pretty cool. But then it goes into a graphics mode when you're doing different things. So I'll just fast forward one here. There's a whole bunch of commands. It's a fairly complex simulation. You can see like oxygen, water, start connecting things and turning them on, etc. Different color sets. But yeah, it looks to be a pretty complex one, but it's nice to see Jim return to the CoCo as well. I'm sure he'll have a ton of MC10 stuff coming up anyway, but next up, the Logbook YouTube channel I've not heard of before, but seems to be that he goes and reviews old classic computer games on a variety of platforms. Decided to cover Temple of ROM, of course, made by Rick Adams. I don't think he had the manual with it, but he does play it for a fair bit of time and kind of starts figuring out how things work. And he seems to be pretty impressed with it. He said, it's not the most graphically impressive thing.
Got it surrounded.
But he does mention that he wants to play it again.
Oh, it's
after his video is complete. So that's always a sign of a good game. And I think I left him a comment.
Like,
there's a sequel that Rick has released as well.
Dungeon crawler, and that we are going around.
Has anybody else here watched this channel before? I don't know if he's done any other CoCo stuff that maybe I've missed in the past.
No, the first time I saw it was this week.
But definitely not going unopposed.
Anyway, it's a good little gameplay video. So the last one after the game specific stuff is the classic and retro gamer made his own top 5 list of his top 5 Dragon 32 games.
I like that Dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, AI is going nuts. It's designing all kinds of new CoCos and Dragons. Any guesses here from the peanut gallery who have not seen this video? What do you think some of the top 5 Dragon 32 games would be? And I will mention that most of them were on the CoCo originally and reported the Dragon after, but there are some unique ones. I did see a few that I would have added and I would consider missed. But... No takers?
Detroit, obviously.
I'm not going to be the spoiler. He does get into a bunch of why the Dragon did. I mean,
yeah, he actually praised the Dragon pretty good in here because he was mentioning, the 6 that I'll give you one. The most obvious one is one of Karen's favorites, the cross-platform. So it's on the BBC and a bunch of other Sinclair, etc.
Chucky Egg.
Yeah, Chucky Egg. But he says that the smoothness and the collision detection on the Dragon version is actually one of the best out of all of the ports. And I know Kieran has mentioned that as well, that it seems to play smoother than a lot of the other ports did. So, yeah, I would agree with that one. But yeah, he actually praises the 6809 as being able to, kind of keep up. A little bit of history of the Dragon at the beginning, too. So obviously Chucky Egg's the first one. You guys should recognize that one. It's one of my favorites of all time.
Phantom
was that?
Slayer.
Yeah.
Phantom Slayer, yeah.
You guys should recognize that one, even though it's a color set we're probably not used to in North America.
Donkey King.
Yeah. He even mentions the story about, it was so close that they got in legal trouble and had to rename it to King, which happened first at Tom Mix, and then I can't remember, was this Microdeal resold this in the UK or was it Dragon themselves? But yeah, they had to rename it. Recognize that one?
I know that one.
It's been in the Game On Challenge.
I know.
I'll give you what it's a clone of. It's a clone of Amadar, I believe, from the arcade. It's a Cuthbert game, if that's another clue you need. Is Ken back on the call?
He's not awake yet. Microdeal. Ken, wake up.
It's a Cuthbert game is not really a help given the number.
Was that Walkabout or something?
Bingo, got it. Cuthbert Goes Walkabout. And this one, I remember it's actually by somebody who became quite famous making games for other platforms. This is one of the few Dragon ones he did. Jeff Min. Why am I blanking on the name now?
Grid
Runner, right.
Grid Runner,
Lamasoft, which is kind of still a thing. But a lot of people didn't know that he actually did some Dragon games back in the early 80s type thing before he kind of took off on some of the other machines. But it's a good video. The guy actually goes, like I said, he goes through the bit of history, it's a bit of the hardware architecture of the Dragon, and then he goes through the games and explains why he thinks they're his top 5. I would put in some other ones in there myself. Backtrack would be one I would throw in there. Lucifer's Kingdom, maybe the parallax scrolling vertical shooter. Yeah, there's a few others I probably would have thrown in here too, but that's a pretty good list.
I like that Dragon 32 he's got there.
Yeah.
Right, I like the extra
cartridge slot on the top
Yeah.
and everything. Like, wow.
Good idea.
Yeah.
That's the Dragon MSX.
Is it really? Because I can't remember what that looks like. I don't think it had a keyboard, did it? Isn't that a game machine?
No, this computer perfectly matches the imaginary monitor that's set in front of.
Yeah, that's an AI thing, but yeah, that looks nice.
Anyway, that's all the game news I have. I do have some news involving games that's more from the development side a little later on. But now that we now have that Ken here, I think we should let him get into the actual game on.
Make
challenge.
him do it. Yeah.
Okay. Let me reset my screens.
Man, I just started eating my lunch.
Well.
Okay. Ready for the game on results?
Yep, he can finish eating while that's playing.
Welcome everybody to the CoCoNation Game On Challenge of the Week results video. This week we played Color Zap. We had a total of 12 players. We had Mark B with 1830, Shenley with 6130, Mike Zweifel 13230, Sloopy Malibu 17140, 8-Bits in the Basement 25,900, Jim Rye 33,800, Canadian Retro Things 34,490, Wingnut 36,450, Doug Venner 41,330, Tom Gunn 50,470, Dr. Ted 64,580, and this week's number one score belongs to Melly with 71,790. Thanks everybody that played. We'll see you again next week.
Wow, and the CoCoNation salutes Melly.
Salute!
Is that a first time?
I believe so. And she's already beat the AI. All right, so colors.
It's nice when you still have reflexes.
Yeah, well. And she was playing on the Game On Challenge Live this week, but unfortunately she wasn't sharing her screen because she's playing on that new CoCo emulator thing. What the
ESP32 CoCo?
Yeah, the ESP32. So she hasn't figured out how to share the screen yet.
Yeah, she doesn't have a VGA capture yet, but she's thinking about getting one.
Well, if she's going to beat all of us old men in the Game On Challenge, she better.
Yeah, she's got to prove it, right?
It's either that or just, film with a camera on your phone and stream that.
Yeah, could do that. All right, so Color Zap. Let's see. Here we go. First off, I found a review of it in Rainbow. And this was, when was this? Rainbow, November 1983. And I did have an interesting time finding a review for ColorZap because, as the first line says, this should not be confused with ColorZap, the utility that was sold by
the disc zapper.
Software Options. So every time I found something for ColorZap, it was about the utility, not the game. So I finally did find it. The arcade speed he talks about is really good, even on a 16K basic machine. So this is a great example of a game that you can play on a computer without extended basic. And then he basically just goes into talking about how the game played, and then finishes it off with that. Well, I'm gonna guess this was a typo here. He says you can start the high score board with my son's high score of.
I think he's referring there to about submitting the score to the Rainbow scoreboard.
Well, yeah, he is, and I think it's supposed to be 50,800, but the way he wrote it is 50,000, 8,000.
Oh,
so 508,000.
Yeah, and this is quite a late review because this was being advertised in Rainbow, like the very first Rainbow I ever bought, August of '82. This was already advertised in the back cover, so I'm not sure why Rainbow took a year and a half or longer to review it, but
and it wasn't until after this that they actually started putting it into the game on or into the high score thing, because I moved forward a little bit into February of '84. It was about the last time I could find one where ColorZap was actually in the high score challenge, and that one has somebody from Ontario with a 227,330. So we know that's a real score because Canadians don't cheat.
Yeah, the edges use lots of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. But, yeah, so one of the few games that we've been playing lately that actually did have a high scores in the high score list in Rainbow, so.
Yeah, and of course, for those who aren't familiar, it's a clone of the 1980 arcade classic Space Zap.
Yeah. So quite a good game, actually. Definitely runs really well, especially for a game that fits in 16K of regular basic computer and everything like that. Like tips and tricks for the game. I think there's definitely an advantage to play it on an emulator where you can program your arrow keys for your joystick, and then so it's a lot easier to just use.
I would call that cheating.
I would call it using what I had at hand.
The one tip I remember from when I played it back in the day, like obviously if you hold down the fire button, you'll eventually overheat your zapper and die, is I would start rapid fire the fire button, so you get that little pause where it goes down, and then you can kind of slow down your firing a little bit if it's getting too warm, and speed it back up if it's cooling off.
Actually, the way that I was doing it was when I pointed at the ship, I always fired twice. I just do 2 quick fires.
Yeah, you want to get the shot if it comes out plus the ship if you can.
Yeah. So, and that was working most times. It wasn't until you get into the higher levels that they start shooting more than one bullet at you. So.
Yeah, but even to the 2 shots, if it hits 2 bullets, it still buys you time on that side to come back. So.
Yeah. So. I tried it on level 15, and it's insane. Even playing with the arrow keys, I couldn't keep up. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the author, James E. I don't know if he did any other CoCo games.
I don't.
Like most Spectral was, the same people, Darren Stinnett and some of the other people there, but I don't remember him doing anything else. I'm not sure where he came in or just submitted the game to Spectral at the time, or how that went.
It's quite a feat for somebody that as far as I know, only did one game for the CoCo. So, I mean, if he could have brought that speed and playability to other games, it would have been pretty amazing.
Yeah. And there's multiple Space Zap clones. There's Aardvark had one in Basic, which actually for Basic is quite good. Yep. There's Floyd Resler's in OS9. I would say playability-wise, this one is the best.
Yeah.
Visually, the other two are a little bit up, but...
The OS9 one's pretty close for playability, but...
Yeah, it's written in Basic 09, so it's a pretty good achievement for Basic. But even the Aardvark one, the Basic one, is not bad. It's keyboard control too.
Yeah, it's good.
But I definitely like this one the best, so that's why I chose it.
Yeah.
I
would agree.
I don't know. Does anybody else have anything to say about this game? So
Yeah, Melly said that she really liked the Zen flow of it.
yeah,
So she was just kind of able to get into it. And that it was a lot like the Simon game.
yeah, it is actually. If you're playing with the keyboard, it is very much like the Simon game. Just yeah, and you do it playing like you just sit there and you get into that flow of just aim, shoot, shoot, aim, shoot, shoot, aim, shoot, shoot.
Yeah, Tom Eric Gunderson in the chat is saying I lost a lot of lives just after the pauses between levels.
Yeah, you got to be ready for immediately facing where you're because the shot comes out immediately when the level starts.
Yeah, it's right after the either the ship that ends the level that rotates around the base as opposed to it's just coming from the sides and the top and bottom.
It gives you a second or two in there after you blow up the two ships that circle you, and then so you got to be ready. You just can't lose focus in that little pause that you get there.
It's not a graphic tour de force. It's not a sound tour de force. It's using the pretty standard Spectral Associates sound effects package. But it's a heck of a lot of fun, and it adapts the difficulty quite well.
It does.
Some of the other Spectral ones, there's not that much of a difference between the levels. Maybe it's faster or something, but this one I think was paced very well.
Actually, in that article that I was reading, what he did say is that every time you pass a level, it goes up 2 skill levels. So if
there's 16 to choose from, so
yeah, so if you start on 4, then your next level is 6, then 8, then 10, and so on and so on. I'm assuming it doesn't get any harder after 16.
I hope not, but I don't remember. I usually didn't start it on 16. That was pretty hard on its own.
It was insane. I could last about half a level. And I didn't even try it with the speed up poke. So, all in all, I'd say a really addictive game, and definitely one of the
such a
things
simple concept.
Yeah, a simple game that is just addicting, and the kind of thing that nowadays would just be one of those little phone app games that you'd get addicted to.
Yep.
Actually, come to think of that, has anybody ever made this game into a phone app game?
Except I'm sure somebody has at some point, because it's perfect for like tapping the 4 directions.
Just tapping the 4 corners. I don't remember ever seeing it though, but
yeah, except on the compilations, like the Atari compilation. I've seen it on some of those.
Well, yeah, on other video game systems, but I've never seen it on a phone app.
No, the phone, like you can get like an Atari compilation, or you can get a
okay.
Tato compilation. I've seen it on one of those. I don't remember. It's not Atari, but I can't remember who made it, the original Space app. But I've never seen it as a standalone with like modernized. It's more like here's the emulator running it, adapted for the phone screen.
Now, is it the same game as Cosmic Zap, which was the Dragon 32 version?
I believe so.
Because Tom Gunn was playing that on the live version, and it looks exactly the same other than the color sets. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. I think that, like, by that time they already had the Donkey King problem. So I think they renamed it up front to try to avoid some of that, just like the Ghost Clubber became Ghost Attack or something like that. So they tried to differentiate them a bit.
Okay, so yeah. I don't know what else to say about it other than definitely if you want to have a little bit of addicting fun for a bit, play it. Try it. Come on, people. What are you doing?
And you won't get bored because it does ramp up the difficulty pretty good. So
oh, yeah. It does. Even if you could start even on the easiest level and it would get pretty difficult pretty quickly. So
yeah,
like it's not a game that you're going to sit there and play for an hour and wishing that the game's going to get harder, because yeah. And I guess so the other game that we played this week was Hop Bopper.
Oh, that's a CompuServe release.
Yep. And so an interesting.
For those of you who are on CompuServe back in the old days, yes, you used to have to punch in your 5, 4-digit ID to log in. and you'll see the person that wrote Hop Bop or his CompuServe addresses on the splash screen. So that was a freeware, shareware, or freeware game back in the day.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to go on CompuServe and try to get a hold of him, see if he's still there.
Right. Maybe you could download the game from the CV simulator area there.
70107. Then comma.
Here we thought that was the guy's zip code.
No, that's your CompuServe ID. I had one. I can't remember.
Yeah, there'd be
it
a
now.
dash, not a comma.
Oh,
right.
I really wish CompuServe had kept all their archives, because one thing, and I don't know how many people know the history of this, but the whole OS9 Level 2 upgrade that was being done in the late 80s with Kevin Darling and Bruce Eisted and a whole
It was
bunch
all
of
hidden
20, 30
in their
people.
chat.
They had their own special forum set up for the development, and they were passing stuff back and forth, ideas, code to try out and all this stuff. And they did that until the upgrade was basically done, until Tandy canceled it. And then they stopped the project, of course, and didn't release it till years and years later. But all the history of all the discussions of how they're designing it and who's doing what, all that kind of stuff was all on there. And when CompuServe shut down, they deleted all of that. So there's no historical record of that. I really wish that it had been preserved.
Right.
If only we could go back in time.
Someone's got a 9-track somewhere. You just got to find it. And
Yeah, I hope so. It would be really nice to find it. There's some CoCo stuff, just the regular CoCo and OS9 forums there too, that has gone missing, and it's not on the archive now. So some of that stuff is actually just gone, at least until somebody else can find it. I did go through and download some stuff when I was a member, but I mean, you were paying, especially in Canada, you're paying data pack and CompuServe fees. So it's like $10 to $20 an hour at 300 baud. I wasn't going to be downloading everything.
So Hop Bopper is an interesting concept for a game. There's no shooting or anything in it. The only way you can defeat the bad guys is by jumping over them. So
yeah, which like kind of pops them out of existence.
Yep. Which gets interesting when you start getting multiple guys on each level, but
on the same row. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I guess one little tip and trick is that when you're climbing up the ladder on the side, you can't get onto the level when you get even with it. You have to be above it. Otherwise, you just fall through the crack. But
yeah, it's a fun little game. Another one I like, Colors App,
Yeah.
where it's like a simple concept, but it's a lot of fun, and the difficulty does ramp up pretty good.
And it is fast. I mean, it runs fast.
How were people doing playing it on the live? Since I didn't have a chance to watch.
I think I wasn't really paying that much attention. I was too busy with Colors App playing it myself. So I had to make sure I beat Sloopy's score. So
Well, he beat you on Icarus, or however you pronounce that, didn't he?
Yeah,
Because
he
he actually managed to finish the game.
Yeah, he did. Which is sad for me because I mean I play tested the game, so I had a lot more time. I still.
It was nice that you guys had Paul on too. That was one episode I did manage to get part of it.
Yeah, so I think people are getting the hang of it. I think at first people were not really figuring out the game very well. It definitely takes good timing to jump over the bad guys.
Yeah, I definitely recommend trying to play that one too. Another 16K
Yeah.
game.
And,
So
and I have to disagree with this person in the comments that said Sloopy rules. Oh, it is Sloopy, of course.
Okay.
so he's deluded, is what we're saying.
Yeah, he's
it shows up.
delusional.
It shows up as drools on mine.
Loopy drools.
Yeah, that sounds more like it. All right, so Hop Bopper, we're playing for another week, so give people time to actually get a hang of it, and I think there are a few people have posted scores for it, so even Mark has posted a score. Come on, people.
Not much of a score, but still a score.
Yeah, a score is a score.
Hey, I did manage to get to level 2.
Well, there you go. See, if you're having problems with this game, then just think Mark can get to level 2. So
I don't know. Mark's been getting better though. He's actually won some game on challenges lately, hasn't he?
No,
not quite one, but
he's in the top.
middle of the pack.
I've gotten up there.
Yeah, he has. He's beat me a few times.
So he's improving with age, unlike the rest of us.
Yes. Right. He's slowly rebuilding himself. He's the new $6 million man. Just rebuilding himself with AI. Soon he will beat Dr. Ted.
I think Dr. Ted is pacing himself.
I think if that happened, everyone would faint.
All right, well, let's take a look at... okay, somewhere around here I have the live game on challenge. This is it, is it? Yes, there we go. There we go. We got people playing Color Zap. We've got people playing Cosmic Zap and Hop Bopper. So let's see. And somewhere in the background, actually just chatting with us, is Melly. And then we also had Ken Reighard show up to show off his new game.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
Oh, hey, yeah, there's my high score.
All right. What, 20?
No, the 897.
Yeah, we had 7 people playing. It was awesome. Or 8 people. Yeah, 7. Actually 8 at one point, but
Don't let anyone in this place.
Mark, I don't know how to tell you this, but 897 is the bonus. 20 is your score.
Oh. I'll keep scrolling then.
Oh, there we can watch some more of Ken's game. Have we covered it already in the news again?
Yeah. Yeah, there's released a gameplay video to kind of demo it.
yeah, we played it a lot. Well, it was shown off a lot.
Ah, there we go. 892. There you go, Mark.
Yep, there we go.
That's your score. Hopefully you didn't post the score where you had 20.
Right.
That might have been my first one.
But, yeah, we had a lot of fun playing there, and we were on our best behavior because we had new people joining us, so...
Yeah, well, Ken's been on there before.
Has Melly's never been on before, though, has she?
Yes.
It's been a long time.
She has? Oh, okay.
Yes. It's been quite a long time, but she's been there before.
Okay, well, then we didn't have any new people, so why were we on such good behavior?
Ken is somewhat new. He's like a special guest.
And Sloopy, what are you doing here now? Is your party over?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then you can talk about the live game on challenge since you're here.
I was.
I was ignoring you.
Exactly. So now I'm going to ignore you.
Okay.
But to everyone else, yeah, we had seven players showing video. We actually had 9 players total. 2 didn't show video. It was a great time. Fun was had by all. And we did have a new person. Rich. Rich. Yeah, I think his name's Rich. The one that's showing video.
Yeah, he's a member of Glenside. He's on the Glenside teams.
I know who he is, but I remember his last name's Chrislip, but I can't remember his first name.
Yeah, Rich.
Yeah, it's Richard Chrislip, I believe.
Yes. I know it starts with an R. So we did have a new person, and that's why
That's why we were on our best behavior.
But
we wanted to impress the Glenside people.
But yeah, it was a pretty good, successful show until I think somewhere in this area where it went downhill. Because if you look at that person in the top left, their score is way too high.
Oh, I did better than that.
But yeah, Other than that, it was good.
Yep.
So
lots of fun was had by all. So if you want to find out how much fun it is to be on the live Game On Challenge, when and where can they join us, Sloopy?
So yeah, but it was a great time, and we had new people coming, and then we had new games being shown. So if you want to really get the full enjoyment and entertainment out of it, join us on Thursdays at 8 p.m. on the CoCo Discord.
8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m.
5 p.m.
Eastern,
Pacific.
5 p.m. Pacific. And you get a lot of value for your entertainment dollar.
It's true. I was there.
Isn't it free?
Yes.
Well, yeah, but you can double your money. So
That's a value. That's why you get a lot of value for your entertainment dollar.
It's worth it for twice the price.
Yes. So join us Thursdays, 8 p.m., 5 p.m. Pacific, on the CoCo Discord in the Game On Challenge voice channel.
And if you can't make it to the actual gameplay, but you want to be able to participate in the chat, you can also watch on Twitch and YouTube and chat away and criticize the players.
Especially,
or give them tips.
Especially that professional Canadian game player.
So, yeah, but Curtis hasn't been on the Game On Challenge for a long time.
No.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point.
And my job is going to be involving some night work here, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
Criticize him for not being there.
You're just driving, aren't you? You can participate while you drive.
Yeah.
Do your network later.
Not legally. I believe that's called distracted driving.
When you stop at stoplights and such, or hear me out on this crazy talk. If memory serves me, you've recently got a wife.
Yes.
And if you have her drive, then you can play while she's driving.
Well, she drives for her job too, so, and it's two different companies, so we can't do that.
Oh, excuses.
Don't have to tell anybody.
I might have Ken pinch hit for me.
Yeah, have Ken drive you around.
No, I meant like playing the games. I'll give him all the special tips, the special cheat pokes.
There you go. The magic twitch.
And his score will still be low, so we'll know it's not you.
I'll just make it so he can't die. That's all.
Oh.
I like those cheat codes.
And yes, Ken, 9:30 p.m. in Newfoundland.
Okay.
For all you Newfies out there that want to join.
Oh, with the half step?
Yep.
Actually, it's going to be interesting coming up here soon too, because we got several provinces that are no longer doing the daylight saving switch, and now there's a bill. Is it back to the Senate now in the States about quitting?
Same thing in the States. Yeah, we may not change.
We might actually all switch over and be like Ron and me.
Well, in my opinion, because of what we have for our government, they would probably choose the time that is opposite of what Canada has standardized on.
Well, no, normally they would, but it's so dysfunctional now, we'll probably just go with the flow and do it correctly.
Well, just not changing all the time would be fine.
It's
you guys can pick whatever time zone you want to be in. I don't care.
No, we'll do it the wrong way and you'll end up being right.
Yeah, but not having to remember in the fall you have to switch it one way, and in the spring you have to switch it another way.
Right.
The dates change depending on who's in.
Well, and the fun thing is,
or something.
A lot of companies post time charts where they switch everything to make up for the time changing around because.
And then you have to list your exceptions.
Hear me out on this. I think we should just become like China and just have one big time zone.
Okay, yeah, the sun rises at 4 a.m. here and sets.
Then when I go to my cabin, I wouldn't have to change my watch.
Yeah.
Come on, simple.
Yeah, and when the sun sets at 1 a.m.
Actually, I'm far enough north that
we're blind at a midnight sun. It's called that for a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
In July, the sun doesn't actually set. You can always see it glowing just in the horizon.
Just like all of our Antarctic viewers, they have the same issue.
Yep.
Where it can be sunny half the year and or dark the other half.
And even with time zones, in Dallas, we were kind of in the west part of the central time zone, and Milwaukee were the east part of the central. Everything's wrong. All the times are wrong. It's
sort of like being in Bar Harbor, Maine, where the sun is up and you're like, it's time to get up, and then you get up and you realize, good Lord, it's 4:30 in the morning.
Right.
The time the sun comes up
Time
in
to
my cabin in July.
That's time to get out and mow the yard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, before it gets hot.
Time to go.
Oh wait, Bahama. You got to wait till the dew goes away.
At any rate, that's enough about time zones. I just think it'd be nice if I just think it'd be nice that if people aren't switching anymore, we can just leave our clocks the heck alone, because that's cause health issues and all kinds of things. So
okay,
I don't care which time zone anybody picks. Just quit changing all the darn time.
Or traffic accidents.
Okay.
Speaking of
heart
time
attacks,
zones,
strokes, like it's all increased.
Okay,
it's time for Ken to announce the new game for this week.
Curtis must be back because we're 2 hours in and we haven't got through the games yet.
All right.
We did the game news already, so we're a little ahead of schedule that way.
Okay, take 7.
Okay,
That's
so
the show.
Our game for the next 2 weeks, this one's going to be really hard to figure out, because we won't even have seen this one today.
Please. Astro Smash on the Intellivision.
Not
Yes.
Astro Smash.
We've decided to play an Intellivision. No.
No, that's the Atari 2600 version. Go M Network.
So obviously that is Meteor Mess by Ken Reighard. So
Available on his Twitch.io page, which is in the show notes already.
on his
Discord.
Twitch.io page. So yeah, just check out the show notes. I will post a link to his itch.io page when I post the title here. And yeah, we're going to be playing that for the next 2 weeks.
And we recommend a what, $10 donation?
Well, he recommends, well, it is a minimum of $5, but hey, if you can afford it, give him more.
Yep. As he mentioned in the chat too, he said just pay for it twice.
Yeah,
There
we
you go. Buy 2 copies of it.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have backups anyway, right?
Yeah, we recommend a $10 donation. Ken, don't forget our kickback.
Actually,
Yeah, don't forget Sloopy's cut.
You need to make
If
up
you
for the other games you haven't paid for yet.
if you give him a $10 donation, then it's guaranteed that if he gives you a physical copy at a CoCo Fest, he won't sign it.
Nice.
But also remember, if you're giving him extra big tips, you're just encouraging him, to write more. So
Also nice.
please do so.
Yes. That's it for me. That's all. I got nothing else to say.
I just have one thing to say.
Ken says, why stop at 2?
Thursday, 8 p.m., 5 p.m. Pacific, the CoCoNation Game On Challenge Live. Be there or not.
Be around.
If you're not there, then you can be cool like Ken.
Yeah. All the cool people will be there this Thursday.
And some of the uncool people.
Nope, just cool people. Everybody that's there are the cool people, because that is the cool place to be.
I'm pretty sure I'm already booked to work evenings on Thursdays, so
Cool.
you just have to
It's
change the
just
day of the week. That's all. Just accommodate
As I
me.
said,
Like
it's just
screw the
the
rest
cool
of you. Just
people that are
accommodate me.
going to be there, Curtis. It's just the cool people. We didn't
Oh,
say you
okay.
were
So
invited.
that was designed.
Hey, I don't want to.
So I'll join in winter when it's cool. Gotcha.
We changed the time and date and such because people said they couldn't make it because of this reason or that reason on this day, that day. And we didn't get any more numbers or different people. So we just went
Yeah,
back.
we're trying to do that for the overseas and stuff.
Yeah.
To be honest, my schedule at the new job is all over the place. I'm kind of going to be the on-call guy, so I have, it'll be all over the place. Sometimes I might be able to make it, sometimes I won't.
Be here when you
So,
show up.
just like real life from before.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
I have a party to get back to.
Okay.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye, Sloopy.
Good day, sir.
What's that up in the sky? It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a meteor mess. Shoot down the rocks falling from the sky because, I don't know. Do not allow the spinners to land. Dodge the guided pulsars. What are they saying about Meteor Mess? Get Meteor Mess today at kenscococorner.itch.io.
When you want the latest in TRS-80, Tandy, Dragon, MC10, and all of their hardware cousins. No matter what it takes, or where news breaks, from around the world to your nation. The CoCoNation News with L. Curtis Boyle.
I'm going to be rusty on this. Okay, so first up we have the Dragon news. There's a few stories this week. So the first one, Tom Eric Gunnarsson, who might be in the chat right now. He's a regular in the chat at any rate. Posted a photo of the manual on the hardware for the DriveWire microserver. Now, DriveWire usually just requires a cable hooked up to PC running the DriveWire software, which can be the original code that Boisy did, or it could be Mikey's port of it, and there's several ports of it. The thing about this one, and this was made by Tormod, I believe, Tormod Bolden, is that this is a self-enclosing. You don't need a separate PC. This is actually a little, controller or something built in with an micro SD card adapter, and you basically just plug it straight in. You don't need a separate computer running with a separate screen and everything else. So it's kind of a self-contained one.
He goes to the parallel.
So he found that.
Well, it's an SD card to DriveWire converter. So
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So the software is actually built into it, and there also was a custom ROM for it, which he was looking for, and he finally found it.
And he found it.
Yep.
I'm going through my 27 dragons, and yeah, it's a good thing they put a big sticker on top, right?
Now, I don't remember Tormod making this back in the day, or how recent this was. Has anybody else got one of these? Just out of curiosity.
Tormod?
10 years ago, 20 years ago. I don't think it's on his current site.
Yeah, because that's actually a pretty good idea, because then you could have like a little self-contained thing. It's nice and small. You could take it with you rather than have to take it a separate, laptop or something to hook up DriveWire. You could just.
It's too bad you need a ROM for the Dragon side. Otherwise, that would be the perfect.
Well, I don't know if the ROM is required, or if it just makes it easier. Like the ROM might just be to kind of duplicate the functionality of a disk.
He sort of implied it was required, and that was why he was searching for this.
Because regular DriveWire, you can load in a disk basic ROM from cassette, and then and run your DriveWire based on that. So
there's a GitHub art. No, it's not a GitHub archive. It's on archive.world of dragon. The source code for DW load and all that stuff for the Dragon.
So you could make one. Okay.
Yeah, we should be able to rebuild that. I think. I built a DOS Plus extender that includes DW load, and that was fairly easy to do.
Cool.
Actually, it appears to be on the site currently.
Sorry, what was that, Mark? It was you look quiet.
You're on the site currently.
The wrong mic or something. You're on max echo mode.
Am I? Nope.
You're kind of, yeah.
Sorry about that. Which was on?
You're gated to death.
I turned it up. Help it all.
Or have you got maybe like something running in the background taking your bandwidth?
It could be. Tom says he got that from 2014. So I still link on my site. It's on the front page.
Like it's all warbly.
Yeah, you're like the pattern's the wrong way around or something. You're the background noise, not the featured audio.
Yeah,
Isn't
Tom in the
audio
chat
fun?
mentions he thinks he got his dry wire microserver back in around 2014.
Cool.
So it's been around, over 10 years already. So
It's so old we didn't even remember it.
Yeah, I'd never seen it before. So that looks like a pretty cool project. I do like the fact that it's a nice little compact thing you probably fit easily in like a jacket pocket or something instead of on a laptop if you're going to use dry wire on the road.
Exactly. Well, just at home, you don't have to fire. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just don't fire up another computer. Just plug this in and you're ready to go.
Yep. Probably more secure too. Second up. But Julian Brown posted his fourth vlog about his VDG SAM replacement upgrade board. Now, I didn't get a chance to catch all last week's show. Rick, did you cover this already? Because it was right on the borderline of whether you would have caught it or not.
No, yes and no. He did it, but then he did another one. So it's, a couple of days, there's going to be another Julian Brown update. And this one's a newer one. So, yeah, it's appropriate. And, yeah, he's gone into a lot of detail about what he's doing and exactly why. So it's a good.
Yeah, this one, I briefly skimmed it, and it looks like he was kind of explaining like why he's choosing to do certain things and why he chose certain chips. And, because he could go full FPGA, but then, that gets more complicated on the programming side and cost, and et cetera. So anyway, if you want the full details, just go catch his video. The link is on the Facebook post that he did here, or you can just go under his channel on YouTube. This is one that Rick found that I had just kind of thrown in quickly and then realized I was out of time, so I didn't do the rest of them. But Roy Barrage in the Dragon group is recently got a Dragon 32. Slight issues. He's got a fuzzy top part of the screen with a yellow banding. Now, there was a yellow banding thing, I think. I can't remember what you had to fix in the hardware, but it was something that was common. But it was a vertical stripe where the color got kind of
right.
Yeah, on the left-hand side.
This is somehow
this is
messed
something
up.
different. Any ideas for Roy on this one from the hardware guys in the group?
Right? Anyone? Bueller?
Well, maybe he needs to rotate the 555 90 degrees.
Oh, there you go. Straighten it up.
Just change the phase. No.
This is puzzling. I haven't seen this exact thing yet. Yeah.
Now, I was reading through here, and I'm not sure if I understand this entirely correctly. He says he has a 16K and upper 16K board. So is he doing stacked RAMs? Because I do know the VDG could not cross onto the second set of chips. They would just start showing garbage. Because I had stacked RAMs, and I had that problem with certain graphics demos that went higher than the 16K boundary. So
right,
they did that on the Dragon. The Dragon was always 32 at a minimum. Dragon 32.
Yeah, he mentions somehow making sure that he had regular 32K somewhere in the comments here.
I mean, for the Dragon experts, the very early Dragons, like I know the prototypes when they first were designing the Dragon, they did have a 16K option, which they dropped before they went on sale. But I think some of the boards still had the upper and lower banks as opposed to just using 32 or 64K chips.
They might have had a variant where they had the half bad 64Ks, and then you could choose which bank of those. I'm pretty sure that's
I just say he's wording says he has 16K and upper 16K board, but I only get 16K working should be 32K. So either it's not.
Well, but then later on he says he got the 32K working. I
but a
believe.
stripe like that, I don't think would be.
But it's still messed up. Yeah.
I wouldn't think it to be a memory problem. I think that's more of a
read Julian Brown's comment. He thinks he has the.
Oh yeah, in the chat he says it will be the pulse generator that fills in with the padding to convert NTSC to PAL, because of course it has to switch between 60 and 50 hertz, which is the VDG itself is set up for 60, and they have to kind of stretch it out for 50.
So maybe we've accomplished something.
You know the 5.6 chip.
I'm thinking that's more of an RF type.
That's when your
problem or composite.
555 goes bad.
Yeah.
Starts walking off the board.
You get flames on your monitor.
But yeah, he keeps having this orange bar kind of like just shifting down.
Yeah, you can see it's failing to do something.
It
Oh,
goes
he's got a little
away
blue
for
showing
a
up here too.
I almost
microsecond.
think that's almost like a color burst problem.
Yeah, I would bet Julian is on the track here. He's got a whole big write up now about the 16K versus the mezzanine board versus. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
and Julian's mentioning in the chat now too. He said the original spec for the Dragon deliberately allowed for 16K. Some of them needed 2 banks of 16K, so they got a mezzanine board with the 16K that used the RAS1 pulse instead of RAS0.
Well, why complain? It's extra color.
well, I think we've actually accomplished something because we've connected an answer to a problem. Now we just have to get that connected back to Roy Barrage.
Yeah.
Roy,
John
are you
Whitworth,
watching?
another one of the hardware guys in the Dragon world there. He's kind of involved in the chat. But yeah, if Julian wants to hit Facebook and maybe give him a couple of suggestions if he hasn't already privately. I do like the fact he's playing Color Invaders, the Spectral Associates version 2, which was their very first machine language game for the CoCo, if I remember. We're pretty close to it, from 81. Next up, TRS-80 Retro Programming did an update. We've had a few coverages of this here, so he's doing another project. And he's kind of converting the Atari 2600 game, Haunted House, with his own flair and stuff added to it. So it's based on, but not an exact clone of. And written in BASIC, and he uses page flipping techniques to make things run a bit smoother, not flickery, etc. And actually, it's looking pretty good because he's got this. You wander around here, this pair of eyes, and you have a flashlight. So when you turn it on, you get this round thing, and you can see the objects you're trying to pick up only when the flashlight's on, or if you memorize where they are, type thing. And then you travel between rooms, etc. So he's actually advanced pretty good on this, but actually for a basic game, it's actually not too bad.
Well, no, you can already play, or especially
that's where he's actually moving around here,
as well as Ghost Saga.
Here we go.
Haunted House from the Atari 2600, and it's going to differ a little bit.
Now it's still early, so we still got some things to work
on
out.
it. So one difference is that each floor is going to be confined to 2 rooms, and you get between the rooms by going through the corridor, and then the staircase there, you have to turn on your light. And so that's what this orange aura is around you, is a candle. And so when you have that lit, you can see things that you can't see in the dark. And those being the pieces of the cross. And
now, obviously, it's slowing down here because when he's drawing on 2 alternating pages type thing to cut down flicker and stuff, but he's basically doing a circle command followed by a paint command for every single one of the flashlight updates. So this is one where if you did in Basic 9, because we've optimized the paint command pretty drastically in Nitrous 9, you could actually get this running pretty quick. But the page flipping technique and stuff he's using is really easy to do in Basic. So, but I just like the appearance of it and the fact he's going to have this the flashlight to light up so you can see your pieces of objects you have to pick up and gather. And I did like the original Atari game. I didn't play it too much, but I had one friend that did have it, so occasionally I would get a chance to play it, and it was a fair bit of fun. It was a fairly unique game. Has anybody here played the Atari VCS 2600 version of Haunted House?
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Just looking at the chat here again too. Julian Brown says the pulse generator does generate the fake color burst for the extra rows, so maybe that's what's happening, because it is at the top and the bottom of the screen where the discoloration is happening.
Like color isn't colored.
Yeah. Next up, Brian Palmer posted both a picture screenshot here and the actual disk image for this. So this is, I'm assuming, a type-in game or type-in program from one of the Rainbow or Australian CoCo magazines. Must be a later one, though, because he said, I had fun typing the graphics demo with some animation. Now, unfortunately, there's no animation in the screenshot. He didn't make a GIF here. It's a picture of the Sydney Opera House, and it was done by Bill Battacino in New South Wales. So it's an Aussie actually doing the drawing here, too. Like I said, I can zoom it up a bit here, but it doesn't do But looking at the resolution here, I'm thinking this is a CoCo 3 640 by 192 4-color. That looks way higher res than P Mode 4, even though it's using the same artifact colors.
Looks nice.
Yeah, so he typed this one in because apparently it wasn't typed in already and saved anywhere. So that's a little graphic demo. I'm curious what the animations would be. Is it going to redraw stuff, or is it going to animate,
Maybe
using
the
palette
water.
changes or something? Or
Right.
Maybe the
Well,
boat goes by back there.
Right. And as a type in, how did he draw these curves? Is this
the hard way?
a crap ton of draw statement or a crap ton of data statements, or is there actually some math to draw?
It'd be like the old Rockfest ones when Mo did for all the rock and roll band logos and stuff here. You'd have to just draw it with line and circle and paint. In this case, H circle and H paint.
That's a lot of circle, ellipse, comma, 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 comma.
Yeah,
Right?
0.25 to 0.37 on the arc, and yeah.
Yeah, I was looking through the source code for that one, and it's almost all basic. There's a lot of data in it, but it does not run on the CoCo 2. I've actually been going through a whole bunch of stuff while sitting here just to see what works.
Well, no. If you could make that work, that would be news.
Yeah, well, you need a upgraded graphics chip, which Julian's working on. But
I don't know what the heck you did to that poor TV, but this is cool.
Because even the CoCo VGA, I mean, it gives you extra colors in some of the lower modes, but it doesn't give you extra resolution beyond.
Yeah, this is all about the lines.
Yeah, this is but basically because it's a 640 192 4-color screen. This is like 30K of graphics data. So. Anyway, if you want to grab it, it's called ophouse.disk. You can find it on the CoCo Facebook group. If you go to the files section, all the most recent ones should be at the top, and you can grab that, and also like Richard Kelly's game and a bunch of other things. So next out there, we got Rich Stevens here showing CoCo 3 with FujiNet cartridge bus prototype. I'm sure William can give us a bit more detail on this than I can. Also linked with an XROR CoCo emulator and virtual FujiNet on Linux, and the FujiNet Go Android with virtual FujiNet with XROR enabled. So we've got one real CoCo and two emulated via XROR, both on an Android phone and on an actual laptop, all talking to each other and using the prototype version of the no dongle tail thing required version of FujiNet. So, William, do you have any comments on that? Like, is this what you've been working on as well? Or?
Yeah, I'm working on different things that are kind of parallel to it. But that particular one, it's very cool and it's coming along. It's still I'm not sure it fits into the cart slot all the way. There's a little bit of extra height from the way it's built. Not dissimilar to like the Centipede board, which runs FujiNet on the bus as well. Yeah, it's nice, and it's going to be kind of the official way to do it. With that, using the, it's still going to have the ESP32, and it's going to use the RP2350B for the bus interface and all that stuff. It's got a nice new feature that allows you to emulate ROM, so you'll be able to go into the FujiNet browser, double click on a ROM file, and it'll just auto launch that. That's the big new feature, in addition to just being much faster because it's Becker port based. But yeah, it's very
unlike the Bitbanger, you don't have to do one bit at a time. You could get the old 8 data lines around the
right
bus there.
And they are running, I believe it's a USB over to the ESP32 in this particular variant. The stuff that I'm doing, I'm just running the UART at much higher speeds. Yeah, it's
so what baud rate are you roughly getting an equivalent of, do you think?
I can run it at up to 1 meg baud. I've had success with, but I actually had to back up on that to run it at 468 kilobaud for the stuff that I was showing a couple months ago. I'll show it next week. I'll show the Centipede version, and it's nice and quick.
Nice,
cool,
nice.
That means we can win these Battleship games against all the other platforms. We're running much faster.
Right,
before they can.
Your Centipede.
Yeah.
You've got 0.005 microseconds to respond to my attack. Next after that, Erico Patricio Montero did an animated GIF that he uploaded to the CoCo group on Facebook here showing Robotron. And he actually digitized this from the original arcade game, which is a higher res one with a lot of color. Now, I've done some animated GIFs like this under OS9 because when I patched the view program, I allowed it to do buffered animated GIFs, and you can, I've got several samples on there you can take a look at, which looks very similar to this. It does some dithering and stuff. But if you guys remember the CoCo 3 official port of RoboCop by Greg Zumwalt, which is one of those super cartridges with 128K of ROM on it, mostly, I think, to handle the digitized voice samples at the beginning. But this looks much better. And this is actually, if I'm correct, and I wish Erico was in the chat to verify this or not, but I think this is actually using CoCo 1 and 2 with artifact colors. And it still looks better than the CoCo 3 official version. And I'll just play a little bit here so you can actually see. He did more frames, too, because the original CoCo game just alternates 2 different frames for walking. So it looks kind of stilted. And low res. He did 160 by 192 graphics here, I think. So actually, technically, it's horizontally less resolution than the CoCo 1 and 2 version we're looking at here. But it shows, like, with artifact colors, if you're really careful what you're drawing and stuff, you can make some pretty amazing looking stuff. Assuming, of course, this is the artifact colors. I'm pretty sure it is. But I think he did another one where he kind of did it so you can actually go in both directions, too. Next up, Bradley Goldsmith says, for all of us color computer fanatics out here behind the scenes, and a little cartridge I've been working on in the Tasmanian wilderness. So somebody from Tasmania out by Australia. Coming soon. And doesn't really describe anything beyond that. And he said, yeah, this is HDMI on a CoCo cartridge. So he's getting HDMI output from a CoCo 2 via the cartridge port without actually having to plug into the RF can or composite or anything else. That's pretty unique, I think. I think the other HDMI ones usually are using one of the existing outputs on the VDG chip, not coming through the cartridge port. Can you guys think of any others? Maybe I'm not remembering.
I spy a couple of fly wires coming off of this cartridge that are just kind of going around back to do something. I wonder.
Yeah, and Henry can use the centipede board to render video on a remote computer. And it's something that we can definitely do with the centipede board. Add a daughter card that uses the HSTX to render the video. It's one of his wish list projects, if he's still around. To
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now the video signal is not actually on the cartridge port, is it? You guys are just interpreting the RAM as to where it's being pointed to.
I think you must be interpreting the RAM. There's a Pi or something with the little diagonal chip on his card there.
Yeah, you have to do a little bit more than that. You actually have to listen to the rights to the control registers so that you know what video mode to be in and all that stuff.
Yeah, where the RAM is addressed for the mode.
Right,
you basically shadow it.
Yeah, and if it's going to change the video mode, then you really have to watch all of RAM because you have to know where it might shift the video buffer to be.
So do you get a little bit of a delay for the actual display on the output then, I would assume?
Yeah, I get a bit of a delay. It's hard to notice. I've done this with Erico's little movie animation thing, Feud, where, things move back and forth across the screens. I had this at CoCo Fest, and you have to look really closely to tell which one is leading and which one is lagging.
Now, if you try to do something with incredible precise timing like Dragonfire, where you're changing the color set 5 times on a scan line, I'm guessing that probably would be a little bit harder to do.
Yeah, that's not gonna. That's not gonna work.
That's not gonna.
Well, that's not gonna work when you're the way you're doing it right now over the USB, Henry. But if you actually had the ESP or the RP2350 doing the video emulation, all the heavy lifting, then I think you'd get near zero latency, near zero additional latency.
Yeah, that's yeah, that starts to sound possible. Okay.
I think it's just cool that you can actually do it with a cartridge.
Yeah. Now we could repurpose one centipede so that it's really not doing anything else except spying on the writes and producing high-speed transmit. And that's what I've been wanting to do as a demo to VGA. I'm not aggressive enough to try HDMI off the bat, but if I can get VGA with lower resolutions and lower speeds, then I've got my proof of concept.
And then my next question is, since you're going to be using this to do writes and stuff, if you added a bit of a protocol to it, could you have them, so you have the original display going and then a second display through a cartridge port that's not the same thing you're displaying? Like if you did some overrides where I can basically do two screens like a Commodore 120.
Oh,
yes.
You are evil.
Yes.
That would be like a word pack.
Yeah, so you've got two different frame buffers, and the real hardware is displaying one, and your virtual hardware is displaying another. Yeah, we could be stubborn and display a different frame buffer.
Or you can make a super spread emulator. Super spread.
OS 9 with two monitors is what Curtis wants.
Yeah.
All right, then Curtis should have it.
I mean, I have multiple windows and stuff now, but it's all on one screen. It's kind of annoying.
Right, yeah.
My Game X has 5 video outputs, but it all displays the same darn thing. So,
yeah. They used to make fun of me in the mid-'80s at Georgia Tech because I would have like 3 different WISE terminals next to each other, all connected to the same VAX 750 with, a different shell and a different VI in each one. And they laughed at me for having to use 3 terminals to be a programmer. And,
I did 2 with a VAX 11780 myself at university too. So
yeah.
I never went to 3, but
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, HDMI is a bit more complicated because isn't that licensing issue if you want to do the sound like video? I don't think it's a big deal.
Let's don't go there, but yeah.
We aren't technically doing HDMI. We're doing what DVI
or whatever it is.
Over HDMI.
Adafruit does a good job with this. They say it emits DVI that works with your HDMI monitor.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
A little bit of an update from Cedric Beaudoin. I'm probably massacring his last name there, so my apologies. But of course, he's the creator of the ESP32 CoCo, which quite a few people have gotten now. The second batch, as of July 13th, has been all shipped and sold out. And he's not planning on doing another batch for a little while yet. Somebody was asking him here in the comments. And basically he said he's not doing any more right away. He said probably in the fall, maybe. I think he's kind of switching back to optimizing and changing it with updates and stuff like that for the people that already have it, because he has been doing some updates in between too. I'm guessing he probably wants to concentrate on that for the next little bit before he makes another run. So if you haven't got one yet, you might be waiting a few months before it's available again. Which is too bad because, I mean, a lot of people got it and are really liking it. So on the other end, if he's going to be doing a bunch of improvements to make it even more compatible with the original CoCos, etc., and fixing some of the little, glitches and bugs here and there, that's good too. So can't really.
It's like when you buy a car, they used to say, don't get the first one.
I was chatting with him a little bit the other day because I was asking him if the CoCo 3 source is going to be available. And I think what he's doing right now is he's spending a lot of time to kind of clean that up to make that so that he can release it. I also asked him about the joystick adapter because I did purchase that. I got my ESP CoCo a few weeks ago, but he still hasn't been able to produce the joystick adapter in mass. So I think all of that's going to happen in the fall. I think we'll see more hardware in the fall.
Yeah, like you said, I think he's cleaning up the software. Like one thing I noticed is that his artifact colors for the VDG stuff is that pure version where it's just 4 colors and you don't get the extra colors if depending on vertical pixel placements and 3 or 4 pixels wide type thing where you can get some of the more subtle things like yellows and purples and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, the emulators are all doing that now, and it makes a huge difference because some of the games for the CoCo were designed for that. Like To Preserve Quandic is definitely using a whole bunch of the extra colors. And it looks kind of like blocky. It looks like really early versions of VCC right now. So if you can get that improved as well, that would make it look a lot closer to the real thing. And speaking of the ESP32, Tristan Robichaud put this post here on the CoCo, or actually on the ESP32 CoCo Facebook group, that he's released the very first draft of base documentation. He said, very obviously it's incomplete, but I pushed hard to cover as much terrain as possible. Many unresolved to-do items, so it's like a first draft. Please go through and go give comments. And maybe suggestions, not just the fact that it's missing stuff, but maybe like formatting and how he's got it set up. You go download it from his GitHub, and I've got his GitHub linked up here if I remember. So you can get the direct link to his GitHub is in the show notes, which you can grab off the Discord already. But you can actually go through it, right? So you want to do like getting started, and I want to see say features. And he kind of breaks down like CoCo emulation, it's confirmed. There's no second CoCo 1 or 2 mode, disk floppy loading, a cartridge ROM pack emulation not supported yet, planned for a future firmware update. So he's kind of giving you kind of this state of the union type thing of the project itself. But he actually gets into like hardware specs and then an overview, menus and shortcuts, compatible hardware. I know some people are having issues with like joysticks and keyboards, and because I think it's USB strict and use a Bluetooth keyboard and that kind of stuff. USB only, specifically USB 1.1, not USB 2 or 3. So this significantly narrows the pool of compatible keyboards. Modern USB 2 and 3 only keyboards may not be recognized. So good stuff to know if you want to get into it. So this actually, if he does another batch in the fall and you're interested in getting it and you want to make sure you have the right hardware to work with it, I'm assuming this will be updated, as things progress here, but it'll definitely give some warnings of some things to look out for. So anyway, this is an ongoing project done not by the author of the hardware itself, but by a fellow ESP32 CoCo nut. That's an official term. And feel free to go through. Like I think he's taking suggestions on everything from formatting and spelling mistakes to, he did mention in one of the comments that he's not a CoCo hardware guru, I think he said, or something along that line. So he said he may even have some stuff completely factually wrong about what it's actually doing. So go ahead, Henry. I think you had a comment.
No, I'm sorry.
No, okay. I just saw you on mute, so I thought maybe let's say something. Next up, the color group in Brazil, of which Eric, that we mentioned earlier, is a member of it, but there's a whole bunch of them out there, and they have their annual show, which we'll get to when we get to the upcoming shows. As posted this picture here of a multi-pack style board that is actually for sale, and they got the price there, which I don't know what that translates to. Give this up a bit here. And I think, trying to read what that says. That Chris somebody did the design? I don't think I can. Anyway, this is actually for sale. So it's a multi-pack board, and in the comments he actually has a video of it working briefly. So I'll just show that quickly. It doesn't show a ton of it. And he's actually got 3D printed cases and stuff here, but
certainly looks like a dead copy of the big multi-pack as far as the circuitry.
Yeah, my browser translated that price to $30 US.
Nice.
The PCB was designed by Chris Tiersteeg. I'm reading. I have one of these PCBs as well. It's Tersteeg.
Okay.
They ought to come out with a gold edition so it matches the case.
Yeah, the yellow edition.
Right.
It's good to see that, I mean, Ed Snyder, Zipster Zone, used to cover a lot of this type of hardware, and he's just not making this stuff anymore for reasons we've discussed in the past. But it's good that some people are kind of picking up the ball and, starting to make these things again. There's another person that's actually making CoCo SDCs I saw, because both Retro Rewind and Zipster Zone have kind of been off for a bit. I mean, Retro Rewind, he's gone through a whole bunch of stuff in his personal life that he's just starting to get back out of here again. So hopefully we'll get back onto the CoCo SDC2, and then there was also one of the chips they were using, I believe.
Right.
So they got obsoleted to the point where you can't get it anymore, so they have to switch again. That just happened. That's why they made the SDC2 in the first place. And the replacement chip got obsoleted.
So the new guys are making the SDC1.
Yeah.
And the SDC2 is hopefully coming soon, but in the meantime.
Yeah, if I understood correctly, there's another chip change they had to do in the SDC2 because one of the chips they had chosen to replace one that had already been obsoleted is also been obsoleted. So they want to try to make it so it's not going to disappear and you can't make them in a year again. So
before you start a new thing, yeah.
I mean,
that's one of the reasons I like the PiPico processor. Is the Raspberry Pi Foundation is not making like dozens of different things where they come and go every year, and they're promising that these will be available for 20 years and things like that.
Yeah. And I think it speaks to like a lot of the hardware designers trying to make things as either cheap as possible or as easy to program and work with as possible. sometimes they think they go a bit too far, so they're picking like the absolute trailing edge stuff here because it's already been out for 10 years and it's cheap. And then a year later, you can't even get it anymore, and then the project just disappeared.
But you
So
know, it's
sometimes I
really
think
much easier if I were to start and try to do a CoCo SDC, which I should do with my centipede board. We've got tools now that, you know, we didn't have in 2019 when I joined this community that make it much easier to design and like a one-person shop to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Darren
The new
Atkinson did the design and the
microcontrollers
programming and stuff.
CAD and
Yeah, that's true.
Right, when
Mention for
Darren-
Michael's Zweifel here, he said Tux workbench is making the CoCo C, and I have one, so he's another person that's gotten it. And 8-Bits in the Basement, Peter over in France says, I'm waiting for the next version of the firmware in the next few weeks, I hope. Should add some missing graphics modes, too. I think he's talking about the ESP32 specifically there, but yeah, it's nice that we're getting some of these replacements here, and I hope the SEC2 actually does resolve the chip issue and actually get back out, because I know they were pretty close to having it ready to go. Darren pretty well had the software done, including the updates of some of the new stuff they've added to it and the new features, but it's not too much longer now.
I posted the link to the this multi-port interface in the Zoom chat.
Okay, Mark, if you can post it over to the general chat so everybody else can see it too.
And
Okay, thanks. Okay, next up after that is Michael Pitsley.
You did pretty good putting these together.
Yeah, that was all this morning on no sleep. He started an interesting discussion in the CoCo Facebook group, which I'm sure some of you have actually participated in. Asking that since many people have now gotten hardware and software for the CoCo that they couldn't afford back when they were young, and I was definitely one of those. I was a teenager, and you can't afford much in a paper route. And he's just wondering, people have been kind of collecting it now. Brian Weezer would be a perfect example of this, where he's pretty well got every piece of hardware the CoCo's ever had. But his question is more along the lines, now, because you can get all this extra hardware, and some of us have some of this extra hardware and software that we wanted back in the day, do you still use it? Are you using your CoCo for anything besides just playing games and a little bit of nostalgia? Or are you actually using some of the hardware and stuff like, some of the MIDI controllers and stuff is still functional today, as an example, or maybe WeFax in Ron's case or something like that. And he's wondering, like, how many people do still use them? And there was a few responses I saw, like, people still use it to telnet BBS, because we have some pretty decent terminal programs that do VT100 quite well, like Twilight Terminal and Rogers. What is his called again, Ron? His terminal program.
Net
You blanking too? Getting old sucks, folks.
Can't think of it.
NetMate. Yeah.
NetMate, thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, somebody's got a brain.
Thanks.
Wonder who it was. Oh, it was Nick.
But quite a few people here actually mentioned that they basically focus on the games because it feels better to play the games on the original hardware than an emulator, because the joystick isn't quite the same and the keyboards isn't quite the same, etc. Some people use it for dialing into the BBS. Some people actually host BBSs. We've had a couple.
What's really fun is getting into OS 9 if you haven't been in it in a while, and remembering,
Hey, nice plug. Thank you.
Well, oh, 2 of them in a row. Look at that.
I have an idea for a long-term project. I haven't got to it yet, where I want to hook up the plug-in power, program pack over to control home assistant devices for home automation. And then I'll just leave a CoCo running in some corner of the house and use that to turn on and off lights.
Yeah, and there was actually X10 module programming stuff in OS 9 level 1 back in the day too, so you can actually multitask.
Resurrect the toast wizard.
I did that to turn on my waterfall in the front of the house.
Nice.
Yeah, Ken and I did some demos when we were at the museum in somewhere in Tennessee. What the town was that in? Wasn't Nashville.
If you had a card like a centipede, which made it really easy to get I2C and SPI protocols in and out of your CoCo, then there's a whole slew, a world of sensors and controls and things you could run from your CoCo.
Yeah. There's a few here that we are, of course, aware of, but it's a kind of a nice tip of the hat to that they're using CoCos in modern times. Daniel O'Connor, of course, has been using it for programming and controlling her synthesizer for some of the music she's doing on her new album. There's others here saying they're actually learning to study BASIC and develop an AI program to use it, playing games only occasionally type thing. So yeah, there's been a whole bunch of things that and people are still using them. So I don't strictly use it for like doing modern stuff myself, but I'm using a derivative like OmniBasic. I still use occasionally for some of my company stuff that I'll be shutting down at the end of the year because just the market's dried up. But that's a descendant of Basic 09. Direct lineage to it, so I'm still kind of in spirit doing it.
Sorry, what's the name of the descendant?
OmniBasic. The original author passed away from a heart attack in 1997, right in the middle of doing another update. So it basically compiles to C, then runs GCC to compile that. So it had stuff like bounds checking and stuff built into the basic part of it, so you didn't have to worry about overflowing variables and stuff. So in some ways, it was actually safer, straight C. But yeah, so it's an interesting discussion. I was like kind of wondering if you guys had any suggestions. You guys already mentioned a few, so it's cool that somebody could take 45-year-old hardware and actually still use it usefully.
Yeah, I've been doing the high color pictures now and then of latest things like the 250 logo here. I did that recently.
Yeah, because you're actually getting a CoCo to simulate a lot more than 64 colors.
Yeah. Fun.
And speaking of Sockmaster, since he's the one who wrote the high color program you're using, Alan Huffman posted on the Subetha Software blog. He had not seen this back in the day, which is surprising. I guess he figures he was probably into OS 9 too much and just kind of ignoring this basic stuff. Because this was really published in 1995 in Frank Swaggart's World of 68 Micros, and any of us around there, that was the replacement for Rainbow, basically, and ran for 5 years. Ken Reighard actually and Jason Reighard both published games and stuff in their source code. Rick Hewlin had a regular column on OS 9 in there back in the day too. So, but there's the program called Two-Way Scroll Bass by Sockmaster John Kowalski, and that's the entire thing. It's a CoCo 3 only program. The only pokes in here are to set the double speed, and then here is just to help do some of the timing and to force VSyncs and stuff. But basically what it does is it draws some graphics on the 321/92/16 color screen and then has two halves of the screen scrolling in opposite directions using hardware scrolling. So it's smooth and fast, but without using any machine language at all, which, most people figure is pretty well impossible. Of course, that's what Sockmaster's famous for doing, is stuff that's impossible. So he'd not seen it before. And there's a video demo here, which I will just skip over to here. And it's a nice small little program. There's not much to it.
He likes the word R&D.
Yeah, random. So he's drawing a random star field. He's going to draw some shapes on the screen so you can tell where the scrolling is happening. And then it just does the scrolling totally in BASIC. It uses the palette command to force a VSync to line up so it doesn't tear the screen. And then the mixture of colons and spaces to time how far down the screen that the scroll happens. So this is pure BASIC, folks. This is not cheating at all. And you can also see that he's using the wider screen because you have two versions of the horizontal scroll. You can scroll and wrap around immediately, or you can do the virtual 256-byte widescreen and actually have a screen that's wider than the viewable. So you're viewing a window within the screen. And that's the whole thing right there. So stuff that Sockmaster's famous for. But yeah, he did a little write-up on trying it out and seeing what it does. And now he mentioned I'm going to have to read the full article because the article was written by, I think, Robert Galt and maybe, was it Rick Adams or? Anyway, a couple of the other programmers, because they were a little bit shocked by, doing this in pure BASIC. So they kind of went through the code and then figured out through basic ROM disassemblies exactly what everything was doing, like all these palette commands. Why are you resetting the palette when you're doing the scroll? It's to force the sync to time properly. So a lot of little tricks in there, but that's typical Sockmaster. Next up, CoCo Town did another educational video. And this one here is going into how the keyboard routine on the CoCo and the Dragon works. And not so much in the hardware level. He's done that before in a previous one, doing the the columns and the rows, and you write to one and read back on the other, the PIA to get everything. But more getting into how the basic ROM code itself handles it. How does it handle debounce? How does it handle reaction time? And then he goes into some of the differences the Dragon did. One of the big things is that the Dragon had the option of doing key repeat. Now we have a lot of patches. ADOS and a bunch of others added this. OS9 uses key repeat as well. And then it also goes into some of the efficiencies that the Dragon version of the ROM has. Now, if I remember correctly, because there was multiple versions of the basic ROM, color basic, which is where the keyboard routine, the polecat routine is that he's talking about here, went through multiple revisions between the CoCo 1, 2, and 3. I think the later ones in the CoCo kind of did the same thing the Dragon does, where it does a brief check where you write all the pins and then read back. If anything changes to a 0, then a key has been hit. And if it's not, then don't bother trying to scan each individual row. Just, you're done, leave type thing, which actually did make basic run a fair bit faster. And then I think they had a special check for the break key in the later versions of color basic. So the Dragon version is more efficient. And he goes into some of the details of that. He also goes into some of the debounce logic, and he says, he basically did a version of the routine himself where he disabled all the key bounce, and it didn't make a huge difference. So he's wondering, is it really necessary? I think on the Chiclet keyboard, it probably was a lot more than the more modern keyboards. But he has these nice little animated
During the
illustrations.
debounce check, Polecat
Tells you how the
looks for a
joysticks are read
low
using the
signal
same
coming
thing.
out of one of the bottom 2 rows without first strobing any columns.
So this was a problem in the original Color Basic 1.0, if you guys remember that. If you hit the joystick button, you get a string of characters across. And that actually would literally be these entire rows. So you'd hit the button on the left joystick and you get A through G, and if you hit it on the right, you get H through O. And that's because they hadn't separated the fact that you don't strobe when you're checking joystick buttons. You do strobe when you're trying to do keyboard. And you can actually tell the difference between the two using that method. But then it goes into like the Dragon. Let's see, nice little summary here. So going in the order that the CoCo steps are, and then there's some different steps here, like the any key check first. If any key is not pressed, then skip all this stuff. Like you don't need to waste your time. Whereas the CoCo version, the original version, I think 1.2 fixed this, if I remember correctly, or maybe it was 1.1. It would check all of them every time, go through every row. And I think if I remember correctly, the story, now you guys might remember better than me, but I think did the same thing on the CoCo as the Dragon and did speed up basic on 1.2. But when the CoCo 3 came out and Microware had to go patch the ROMs because of the disagreement with Microsoft over copyrights, etc., and they weren't allowed to change code, they for some reason reverted back to the older one. So the older, slower check everything was back into place, which actually means CoCo 3 Basic is running a bit slower than it should be because it's doing extra checks for the keyboard every 1/6 of a second. It doesn't need to.
Hey, Curtis.
Alan?
I thought that was from Microware using Unraveled to make sure that all their patches were going into the right places and things like that.
Is that when they reverted back? Because they kind of reversed the last update?
Right. Because Unraveled didn't cover 1.3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because one I remember was an update for the updated SAM.
Mm-hmm.
That was one patch, and then the other one was for the keyboard, which actually did speed them. It did make reaction time on the keyboard a little bit worse, because I remember my Olympic decathlon game on the original Color Basic ROM, you could hit the keys pretty easily to run full speed. And once the new ROM came out, it started missing keys when you're trying to hit them really fast, and it actually played worse.
Okay, so this is actually a legal thing. They couldn't copy the ROM, but they could copy Basic Unraveled because that makes them clean room. Because they didn't copy the original code, even though they knew what the original code should be. They didn't have a document that said what. See where I'm going?
Yeah, I mean, that could be related, I guess. I'm not sure, to be honest, because I mean, it was a bit of a surprise to the people that disassembled the CoCo 3 ROM that, why did you reverse this back? This other patch really helped speed basic up, like in cases up to 10 to 20%.
Right, but it wasn't independently documented, so they couldn't just use it.
Yeah, they had to come up with an algorithm, and they wrote their algorithm, and they just didn't do as good a job or did a better job. Or
Yeah. I do remember when they interviewed some of the people that worked on the Dragon ROMs, though, they were quite proud of the updated keyboard routine because it was better than the CoCo's, honestly.
Okay.
Not only adding in key repeat, but also speeding up basic processing, checking for keys. So your basic programs ran a bit faster. It's a really good deep dive. Now it's more into the ROM side of things. It does some hardware explanation, but he's done a really deep dive in the hardware before. And of course, there's Unraveled. Next up, we got some updates from Lee Perkins. He was working on Cloud Kingdoms, which is a very ambitious 2 meg required, 609 required CoCo 3 game, which it kind of admitted he bit off more than he could chew on that one. So he's probably going back to it later. But he decided to do a simpler one and kind of reboot with this. And he's doing Montezuma's Revenge, which is a popular game, I think, on the Atari 8-bits and the C64. I think it's a multi-platform, if I remember. Yep. So he's redoing it for the CoCo 3, and it should run in a standard, 512K CoCo 3 type thing. And he's got it pretty close to being ready from the looks of these videos. He released 3 separate little videos here, kind of showing gameplay and then the different ways to die, because he actually has different animations depending on how the character dies. It's not just, you get hit by anything or burnt or whatever that you just turn around and, flip around a few times and die. It actually has separate animations. He also has a little high score thing that he shows too. Now, I'm not positive. He might be running this in 160, 192, or 160-200 mode. Or he could be doing the same trick that the AGI driver for King's Quest 3 and Leisure Larry did, where you double all the pixels up. So you're in the 320 mode, but you treat the screen as if it's 1 byte per pixel, which means you don't have to do a bunch of pixel masking to draw stuff in the background. Every byte is a pixel as far as the game is concerned, which means you can do things a lot faster. And I know he was trying to get this up to speed to get it going. I don't believe he's actually released this yet. This is kind of preview thing. Is anybody I've been gone for the last couple of weeks, so I don't know if he has released this yet. I didn't get a chance to check Discord.
He's released a couple of disk images along the way that are partial.
Okay, but not the full game yet.
As far as I know, not the full game.
Okay. So for those who've not seen the game, he's got animated flames, he's got sound effects in here now. The game is basically playing properly. It's got a nice splash screen there. Nice and colorful. He changes the colors depending which screen you're in. Nice and smooth too with the sound effects. Don't slow anything down, even if it plays this little musical ditties. Animated flames, which is nice.
Nice.
Click the keys, which I'm assuming is one of the missions in the game. Pretty simple sound, but I mean, it plays in the background, doesn't stutter the graphics at all. Long jumps and stuff too, that if you catch a rope. Hey, I don't want to play like the entire video. You guys can check out the rest of it, but he's got some ones here that I want to show. So ways to die. I won't show all these either, but I'll show a couple here. So he's got, like I said, different animations depending on how you die. If you fall in the fire, you disappear in a puff of smoke. If you get hit by something, it's a totally different dying sequence type thing. So I thought that was kind of cool. I'm assuming the original version had that too. That's one game I have not played. So there, you fall and your legs wiggle in the air. Now, if you get hit by the skull, the rotating skull, you kind of dissolve. And there you disappear in a puff of smoke if you fall in the fire. So he's got all these different sequences, which actually makes, I think, the game more interesting. And there's a quick demo of the high score routine. He's got top 10 scores. I believe he's saving these to disk. I'm not positive. It's actually got a little kind of demo running in the background, so you're not just looking at a static high score screen, which is kind of cool too. Anyway, it looks like the port's coming along really, really well. I remember he made a posting. I can't remember if it was on the Discord or Facebook or what, but he mentioned he's not very good at playing the game, which is something you hear from a lot of game authors. And he said he finally made it through the first level. So don't feel bad, Mark. Even the authors can't complete levels on these things. Next up, there was an update. I think Exxon Paradise is the one that notified me of this one. So thanks for that. There's been an update to CMOC. So version 1.99 is out. Now, this is the C style compiler. It's not pure C, but it's pretty darn close. It has some buggy optimization fixes. It's got some inline assembly supporting for offset, or referring to offsets of struct members, added several non-void functions, some minor optimizations in general, etc. And it's a free download, so you can just come and get it. You can write stuff for this. Disk Basic for the Dragon, OS 9, it works for compiling it on OS 9 as well. And you basically, it's a cross compiler, so you run it on a more modern machine, and then you actually have it create the files for you. There's also a whole bunch of support software written by himself and others, kind of using it as a demo to show off what the compiler can do. Now, one thing I had not noticed before, and I don't know how to miss this before, maybe I'm just not remembering, but he actually has a CoCo arcade game called CoCo Smash. This should look familiar for those looking at the game of the week this week. And this was actually out a few months ago, earlier this year. So it's a P-Mode 4 artifacting version of Astro Smash. And I haven't had a chance to try it yet, but now we went from having 0 Astro Smash clones to 2 in the same year. So, and using 2 totally different graphics modes. I believe Ken's is using SG12, which is one of the higher semi-graphics modes. So it's a 96 vertical resolution, but with like 9 colors. And this is a 4-color artifacting version of it as well. This one requires 64K of RAM. On a CoCo 3, an RGB monitor is recommended, so I'm assuming it allows to detect that and actually set palettes, etc. Has anybody actually played this? Because this has been out since March. I don't think I knew that. Has anybody here tried that, or anybody in the chat?
No.
Not a bit.
It's a free download, so there you go for Ken and Sloopy. Here's another Astro Smash clone you can try. Maybe separate them with a few other games in between, but interesting to compare.
Oh no, week 1 and week 2 got to be the 2 smashes.
Yeah, it'd be like that Frogger marathon he did back when there's like 13 versions of Frogger you had to play once. Yeah, that was cool because I had no idea that he didn't release that. Then we got some sad news. Tim Linder mentioned that Art Flexser had passed away in September. Now, Art Flexser was kind of active on the, he was very active on the CoCo list, and the CoCo list has kind of died down a fair bit lately in general, but I had noticed that Art hadn't been on. I just thought maybe he was busy with other things, but it turned out he passed away back in September. For those of you who don't know, Art was the guy who ran Spectral Systems, so he did ADOS, ADOS 3, ADOS 3 Extended, which a lot of BBS people did because this basically patched the disk basic ROMs extensively for allowing like 40 and 80 track drives, double-sided drives, running the double speed poke with basic enabled, faster track-to-track rates. Extended ADOS 3 added like RAM drive support and full screen editors and all kinds of stuff. So he did a lot of stuff that really helped modernize disk basic. And he did other stuff beside that too. That's the one he's most famous for. So sad to hear that he's passed away. Not much more to say there. Next up after that, we have one. I think this is from Rick. Or maybe I found it. I can't remember now. Scott Gilson in the TRS-80 MC10 group said he's had a request to build an MCX32 SD. Of course, that's the enhanced extended basic for the MC10, the SD card reader, so you can actually use disk and cassette images right off an SD card. Extra RAM, so it brings you up to 32K. So it's a general upgrade that does a whole bunch of upgrades at once, and it's pretty well a necessity if you can get it for the MC10. That'll pretty well modernize it. You actually get some extended basic commands. You get some commands extended basic doesn't even have. And some of the newer games that we've seen for the MC10 recently actually require this as well. So basically, he's gauging the interest to see how many people would be interested, because I guess because Zipster's not really selling them much anymore. If they do appear once every 6 months, it's like 5 of them that are gone in seconds. So he's planning on doing a manufacturing run of these if he gets enough people requested. Now, you can already see there's some people that have requested this, and I know some other MC10 people probably will as well. And it does look like Darren Atkinson, the person who created this, as well as the CoCo SDC, has kind of released schematics and stuff so that you can make them. I think it's just a matter of the programming he has to worry about. But having a source of them would be pretty good. I know that the guy that wrote, what is the one game series that the author that you've been involved with, Ron, that you've been like a secret agent in type thing, because he built one of these himself, and he said it was pretty difficult to do by hand. So having somebody that's actually manufacturing it, so you just pick it up, buy it, and plug it in your MC10.
Name's
Jay,
Jay.
right? Yeah. So hopefully that does go through. He's got enough requests here. I think he's seriously considering doing a run of these.
Right, he's already got like the first 5 boards sold, and he hasn't even. So promising.
Yeah. Now he's kind of took a guess at the price, 150, and then somebody else mentioned that the original ones from Ed were like $60, but with RAM prices and everything else going astronomical lately, I don't fully expect it to be quite a bit more.
Yada, yada, blah,
If you
blah.
can't get them, it's worth it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I mean it's a multi-upgrade. Like the MC10 did have like a memory upgrade. Tandy sold them to bump up another 16K. Even the MCX 128 that Darren also did got you 128K of RAM, and also add extended basic ROM. So this one here adds an SD card reader, a disk drive emulator, 32K of RAM up from the original 4K, extended basic where you can do graphics and edit lines and all kinds of stuff. So it's a general upgrade. It's almost like getting a Gimme X where you're adding a whole bunch of functionality all at once in various aspects of the MC10. So I'm hoping this goes through. I'm hoping it's not too expensive, but I think it'll help Jay and some others, write some more software for the MC10, because unfortunately they're programming for this piece of hardware that adds a lot of functionality. It really brings MC10 up to speed. But if you can't get it, you don't have an audience. Next up, another sub-ethos software from Alan Huffman, but this is MC10 related, and he's actually created new categories for MC10 because he's never done any MC10 stuff on his blog before. And this one, he's going through Jim Gerrie's reverse print routine. So Jim has this little ML routine that quickly redraws a part of the screen inverted video. The MC10 does support inverted video, but BASIC doesn't generally support it. So if you wanted to highlight something, you'd have to go through and poke it all manually. And I don't know if Jim wrote this little routine himself. I think he might have actually got one of the other guys to actually write it for him. But he's using it in a ton of his games and a ton of his programs, the MC10. And basically, you just tell it where to go, and it'll quickly inverse the text, for a certain portion of the screen or a certain portion of a line. And he goes into a bit of a deep dive here. He even goes to some of the language source, and then he kind of duplicates it on the CoCo as a quick little thing at the end. And I remember I went through and poked this stuff, or I wrote an ML routine to do it myself, but you would customize it for a specific thing. This is one you can actually generically change to what part of the screen you're doing. And it makes your programs, I think, a little bit more professional, or just plain look better, depending on whatever you're trying to accomplish.
Wasn't there a program back in the early days when you first had your CoCo that would reverse the screen so you could just,
Yeah, Rainbow published one, and it actually would hook into BASIC so it would stay active.
Right.
And there's also a little a pin on the VDG that you can actually add a switch to, and you can just flip it on and off, inverse video switch. But it inverts the whole screen. You don't have control over just part of it,
Right.
like the software one.
That was cool.
And the last one I got here, there's a channel here called Freerolls Club, and they've been going through and doing video captures of very old, like 1970s, early 70s, mid 70s games from like mainframes and minis back in the day before the home computer revolution, and a little bit of the early home computer revolution. And he's been recording them using Jim Gerrie's ports to the MC10 in most cases here. So like there's 1974 version of Hangman by David Al and Ken Operate. And David Al, of course, is the guy behind Creative Computing, some of the 101 basic games and stuff back in the 70s. Hunt the Wumpus from 73, Caves 1 from 73, Lemonade Stand with some Jim Gerrie flourishes of adding the Apple II's graphic animations and stuff. The Apple II version had 78, I believe it was. Hammer Rabbi, Pong, and all this other stuff, but they're all based on Jim's. And the one thing that's confusing me here is he goes through and descriptions of these when you're playing them. They're supposedly they're not just Jim Gerrie's ports raw. He mentions that he's using AI in some way using the original author's source code. Now, I don't exactly what it means because he doesn't really explain, and I don't really see anything different from the one or two that I've looked at here that sticks out as being much different. So I don't know if he's trying to make the games a bit more intelligent or they react better or what. So
I think one of his thing is the game plays against you with AI is what he's forced into a lot of these descriptions.
So he's making the computer player more intelligent.
Yeah. So, well, no, I don't think he's really doing much of anything other than saying AI in the description of a lot of this stuff. I'm really not sure, but like you say, it looks like Jim's ports.
Well, he does give Jim credit on the descriptions and stuff here.
Well, that's what it is.
Using the author's original source code along with AI like that, and he doesn't really explain what he's doing.
It's a good reason to have him come on the show.
I don't even know who he is.
Right, and
it's just Freerolls Club, whoever that is.
Came from nowhere, and they did like 100 games all at once. So
yeah,
maybe it is AI is what wrote these. Maybe it's what he's saying. Who knows?
Yeah, I'll give you a quote from his description here. He says, "This is a game," and he's just talking about one particular, but they all apply. This is a game with an AI component modified to work on the TRS-80 microcolor computer, or MC10, using microcolor basic from the author's published source code.
That's right.
How do you interpret that? I don't know.
These are all games that have a player against you, right? Is that what's going on here? Because I know at least the ones I looked at, the AI component was there was a player playing against you, the computer.
Well, Hangman isn't, right?
Yeah, Hangman, a few of these are just like rules-based games. They're not really a computer opponent.
Right, there's not really an opponent.
So I'm not sure what.
Well, like I said, so many videos came out so quick. There's not much behind them, is my guess.
Yeah, not all of them are MC10 related.
I like that bingo game right there. Yeah. You can also make it play itself. It runs by itself.
Yeah. And that's an early one, like 66. And Oregon Trail, the original text version, but with Jim Gerrie fancied up with a little intro graphic here. I hope Paul Shoemaker actually gets back to his full port of the Apple II graphic version there and finishes that.
That would be fun. Yeah.
All right, that's all I've got for news this week. And I'll just quickly run through the upcoming shows here because we've actually eliminated another one since I was last on. Okay, so the first one coming up here on August 1st and 2nd, so just a couple weeks away, is VCF West. And that's at the Computer History Museum in Mountain View, California. And there's a few local CoCo people like Mike Furman and some others that may be attending. Hopefully they will be. And it's kind of a double bill because you get the VCF show and you get the Computer Museum. Right.
Slides are out of sync, sir.
Yeah,
I've got my ticket.
It says VCF Southeast is earlier and overlapping.
It's overlapping, yeah.
Oh,
so the VCF Southeast is set, I'm sure, by the Southern Fried Gaming Convention schedule, and they're within it.
Okay, so that's a dual one too, then, where you got two things for the price of one.
Yeah, that's on the border of Atlanta, on the northwest side, I believe. And VCF West here is Mountain View in the old Silicon Valley headquarters, which is now the Computer History Museum, because Silicon Graphics is history.
Right.
So, like, if you've attended both of these, Henry, is there one that you think works better for like a CoCo person to attend?
Oh, VCF West, yeah, by far.
Let's see what they got.
It's in the Atlanta one, the vintage computer is one little room in the middle of a much bigger place. And VCF West has got all your Silicon Valley people dragging in big iron and weird projects and computers you've never heard of, and it's really very fascinating.
Yeah, because I know we've covered the West one a few times. So back there, I think we met you there, if I remember, Henry.
Yeah, I met Marco and Timbo and others there.
I don't know if we ever had anybody cover us from Atlanta. Maybe once.
I went to the Atlanta one once, and I met Boisy there and Mark.
I'm just seeing what they got here for their seminars at VCF West here. I don't see anything COVID related.
I've been to the Southeast one once, and it was fun. Yeah, as Henry was saying, it's pretty small. It's drivable for me, so I'm more likely to go to that one. But then on the flip side, it's my wife's birthday weekend, so less likely to go.
Right.
As a freshly married man myself, I know which one.
We hear away.
It's not much different if you're married 52 years like me.
You still hear away.
So yeah, I guess VCF Southeast, if you're close to Atlanta, that might be one you can pick up on the same weekend from July 31st to August 2nd. It is as you mentioned, a small part of the Southern Fried Gaming Expo. So I guess you're in the gaming side of things. That might be one to.
The gaming is a lot of fun. It's very large. It's active. It's enjoyable to be among.
The free play pinball was amazing. There's so many different machines and whatever. And then there was a lot of tabletop gaming stuff too, which I never really got into. But if you're into that, wow, yeah, go.
Yeah. So does it cover like the old war games, like Avalon Hill stuff? And
yeah, all that stuff. The D&D stuff. They have whole separate rooms for that, and lots of vendors, and they have the figurines and all the like collectible games and such. So lots of stuff for that stuff.
Okay. Next up, that is Vintage Computer Festival Southeast. Okay, that's the one. Yeah, mentioning there.
We're east now. Yeah.
I get confused with the east, southeast.
Yeah.
So we got for speakers here. Oh, nothing yet. Pretty bad they don't have speakers announced yet, and they're only a couple weeks away. That's a little worrisome. Or somebody just forgot to update the page.
Yeah, just get the generic. Come here, first hand accounts. Okay. Sounds good.
But yeah, just a few weeks away in Atlanta, as Henry mentioned. Next after that is a Vintage Computer Festival Midwest 21st, and this is the big one, the largest of the VCFs and the largest retro computer show in the world, as far as I know. That one does have a fair amount of CoCo people at it, mainly because it's right in the Chicago area, so it's right by Glenside. And then you have people like Rick Euland and those that live pretty close to it too, so they usually attend as well. And there's usually a whole collection of CoCo people gathered around a couple of tables, so that you can actually find a bunch of them all at once. Does anybody know if anybody in the CoCo community is going to be doing any sort of presentations or anything at this year's show? I haven't heard anything so far, but
I haven't heard anything this year. I mean, after CoCo Fest, no one's really keen to push very hard to be here. So I think that might be a lot to do with it.
I did notice this here. Read this note about hotel booking scams, and actually I've been hearing about this from other people. Totally CoCo related. Like that's happening a lot lately.
Yeah, I mean, Jim put a post on Facebook about it. It's if you get don't book anything through an email. Go
directly to the site. Yeah,
the hotel website and book your rooms there, because there are so many grabbing extra 20% in between you and the hotel.
That's actually happened to somebody I know here. They run a food truck and they've been trying to get in one particular show for years, and all of a sudden they got an email saying, "Oh, we're going to let you in for half price," because they basically have to pay to put it in. So he did that, and then they said, "Well, you have to also send this extra fee and this other thing." And then he started getting suspicious about it and found out these people aren't tied to it at all, and he was out, a fair bit of money to do this. So you have to be very careful. You have to go to the source yourself. Don't click a link in an email. Just
ever for anything. No matter what
if
the
they give you an
email
offer that
says or-
sounds too good to be true, like it turns out the one he was at, they were basically sold out for months, so they were going to cut the price in half for anybody. So basically, yeah, just if you find something that sounds interesting you'd like to attend, I would go straight to the website or the direct phone number of the actual organization. Don't use it from an email link from somebody. And
right. Visit the hotel
just be
to
careful.
get your room and just initiate your own connections is what we're saying.
Yeah. And so that is Tandy Summit 2026, October 2nd to the 4th of this year, in a new location. Previous years it's been at Springfield, and now it's actually at the Cincinnati Airport in Kentucky, because that makes sense. But it's also at the hotel in the airport, so basically if you fly there, you're pretty well there. You don't have to take a huge ride, because before you actually had to take an Uber or rent a cab or something to drive to a totally different town. So it's a lot more convenient. They have a lot more room. I think there's 2 or 3 times more space, and they were running out of space the last couple of years. There's always some good speakers. And of course, this covers all Tandy machines. So this covers the Z80 based machines. It covers the Tandy 1000, 4000 PC clones, the Pocket computer line, CoCo's, basically anything Tandy did.
I should think doing this is actually a hit on tourism, because you're stuck at the airport. You don't get to see the rest of the town.
Well, no, tourism is based on getting you from the airport to Cincinnati. So if you want to leave here, you're gold. There's all kinds of little packages.
I mean, if you want to do a vacation, you can always, rent the hotel, a couple extra nights, and then go driving out on like Monday, Tuesday.
It's cool. Yeah, the airport's a good place to be based from. I would be happy here.
Next
I'm going to be happy
after
there.
that, we have VCF Montreal.
I'm going to attend.
Which one?
Tandy Assembly.
That
I'm sorry. Oh, you already moved on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy driving through Kentucky to get there. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. You don't even have to go into Ohio, really.
It's not cicada season,
we
is it?
even went there. No, they're gone for 27 years or whatever.
Yeah. I was there when, what the hell was that, the 90s? And I was camping.
A couple of years ago.
And you couldn't sleep with all the noise from the campground.
Yeah, that's close to the season. It could happen.
Well, it just happened in the Midwest.
There's a lot of different roosts.
Yeah, there's different cicada populations.
Oh, okay, there could be different ones.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
perfect.
And they look weird.
Okay, so the Chicago ones are all done, and the Wisconsin ones are all done, but the Ohio ones, or the Kentucky ones,
yeah, that might still be one. Next after that, VCF Montreal 2026 version 2.0. That's because they did one before in January, which was well attended. I think 500 people showed up to it. And we had some CoCo representation there, including Jim Gerrie. But that's like really cold. That's the worst time possible to go. So they're doing another one in early November, which actually may not have snow. So that would be an improvement. I don't know if they've actually got any speakers and stuff.
I'm sad I have a conflict. Maybe I can get there anyway.
It's back.
How much looking space you got?
Oh, Al Lowe. Activision, or CR Online fame, I should say. Creator of Leisure Suit Larry is going to be there.
All right. I like his way of thinking.
Oh, Ken and Roberta Williams of CR as well.
She's still not unattractive.
Reboot Rewind team. I'm not familiar with them.
Oh no, the Reboot TV series from Canada.
Oh, that TV series. I was thinking of a game series. I don't remember that.
Oh, this is Reboot.
Right.
They're remastering it. It's going to be
they're the group that remastered. They got all the stuff and they searched the world to find the proper
the machines to run the tapes and
the machines that run the tapes that Reboot was originally on are insane. They're worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars a piece.
Well, that's cool then. Yeah, actually, that is worth that's worth the private admission right there. Christine Finn, archaeologist and author of Artifacts and Archaeologist Year in Silicon Valley. Anything that does, computer history, I'm in. So, Clint Bass. Oh, LGR. Clint's gonna be there.
Right.
Tom Jennings. That's the guy who created FidoNet, isn't it?
Yeah. Believe
Yep,
so.
FidoNet.
Yeah.
Which I used extensively back in the 80s. The OS9, what they call Echo, OS9 Echo, the CoCo Echo.
Right,
That was
right.
before. That was like free CompuServe.
Yep. I was on there too.
This was Facebook before Facebook. They called it Fight-O-Net. Sometimes.
I almost said it's misspelled in their article. Could have been Fight-O-Net. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one that remembers that.
And I do like the fact that Tom Jennings himself started with an SWTPC, Southwest Technical Products,
Yeah, what the heck?
6800 kit in the 70s. He was a Motorola guy.
Yay.
But yeah, FidoNet was huge. I mean, most people here ran Opus and some of the other, clone BBSs that a little bit easier to administer. But we had a few people that actually ran Fido itself. But yeah, politics really got into things there. The big, Phil Katz war between Zip and C's Arc and all that stuff. A lot of history there too. Yeah, this looks like a pretty good guest list already here.
Right?
That's like a slow email, wasn't it? FidoNet, where you
Well,
could
yeah.
send
Well, it was
somebody
a
message.
shared, but it was like a bulletin board. Like you'd send a message and everybody could read it, and
Yeah, and
everybody
then-
could respond to it, and it'd go worldwide. Like I
And
talked
it
to
all
Nick
de-
there.
And it all depended on your local connection. Some people had instantaneous response, and some people were at the end of a UCP.
And it was
just
not
kinda-
funded by the American government. It was the
No, you could
biggest,
say any dang
strictly
thing you wanted.
grassroots.
And,
biggest
Yeah.
grassroots hobbyist kind of a thing like that.
Yeah, and there was nodes in Russia and Australia, and it became worldwide things. So it's yeah, that was a lot of fun. I spent more time in there than I ever did in CompuServe because CompuServe cost me a ton of money.
Oh,
I did use it. So, and use the listserv and stuff wasn't. I don't know. It was even out then in the early '80s when this was happening, but it was more accessible from like university campuses because you need some big iron to hook up to some of these things. Where this
Right.
was just people with PCs and Amigas and CoCos, like Ribs that we covered on the show last year, is a FidoNet compatible node, and you could actually join in the echoes and join in all the conversations on it.
Yeah,
So that's a good guest list. I'm liking this show.
the Model 134 group that had a BBS and had all kinds of megabytes of storage online. They had a node, and that's where I would go through.
Yeah, and they had nodes for or not nodes, forums or whatever they call it, echoes, I guess.
Yeah.
For tons of subjects, like thousands of them. Kind of like listserv did.
Fun fact, you could audit a class at UWM, Wisconsin, and thereby get a login into Alpha 2. They're sort of backbone connected.
Yeah, because I remember I
Xbox.
had access to listserv when I was at university, but when I quit university, my access was cut off, and there wasn't really a public way to get onto it unless you're a student or a
Well, if you
faculty.
audited a class, you never actually took the class, but you were technically enrolled. It's an American thing, but anyway, worked out pretty good for me.
Yeah.
I failed, but hey, I had internet access for a year and change.
Yeah.
That reminds me.
For me, FidoNet replaced all that, and I was really, really involved with that a lot.
Recently, there was somebody talking about a bunch of people that have tried to put together everybody making their own web page again, and having it.
That would be cool.
Yeah, and everybody like a community of web pages where you can just go and
Kind of like the CoCo Ring was back in the day.
Well, yeah, right. And the trick would be to make web pages that our era machines can decipher and print. Where modern, HTTPS, no way. CoCo's not doing that. But if we had like a black web of 8-bit computers of different kinds and their own network, this could work.
It would be fun. Yeah.
It would be fun. Yeah.
It sounds like you're talking about sneaker web.
Could be. I
No,
can't
no.
remember what they call it.
Yeah.
We just mail each other USB sticks. No, I'm just kidding.
I saw it
No.
on some YouTube.
That's exactly sneaker web.
Is
It's you build your site as SNK files, and you can hand them to someone on a USB stick and they can browse them in their browser from the SNK file. It's the whole protocol that makes the entire site a portable file.
Oh,
Cool. And we've got two more to announce. This one here is Retro C. This is the Brazilian computer club that has the CP400s and Codemax and all the other CoCo clones that they did there, plus the CoCo people themselves. We showed off the multi-pack that they're manufacturing right now. And they've already announced their show, which is happening November the 7th in Florianopolis in Brazil. And this is in early winter, but down there it's summer, so it's right next to a beach. So if you need to convince the other half that maybe you should guys take a holiday to a tropical place, perfect excuse to go here.
Let us know if you pull that off.
Yeah, I'll try.
Right.
For me, it's more going to be funding this year because I spent a lot of money on my trailer
On being, and
getting married and all that kind of thing. So, well, worth it. I'm not going to say anything
Has your
otherwise.
truck been behaving?
Oh yeah, it's been good since they fixed that one cold. It was basically a cold solder joint or a bunch of them on one particular thing that was causing it. It just took a while to track because it would blow something and you'd replace that and then blow something else and replace that.
Because that wasn't the problem.
That wasn't the problem. That was the symptom.
Were you the one that soldered it?
No. That truck wouldn't have gotten off the assembly line if I did.
It was just his karma chasing him down.
Watch the show.
No, it towed the trailer well. I was towing it up and down mountains and stuff. So yeah,
right. Didn't burn up. Got around the fires. It's all good.
No, solar panels work pretty good too. I kept the battery charged. In fact, I've got it charging my driveway right now until the next time we use it. So I don't even have plugged into the electrical grid at all right now. It's doing it all solar.
I like your placemat demanding coffee before entry. That's
You get sunshine in the summer, do you?
Probably more than you do.
Right. A lot in the summer. Winter, not so much.
The province I'm in, I think, gets the most sunlight. No, we don't get the heat. Not like you guys do, but as far as sun, even in winter, we have heat. Like we don't get much cloud. 300 some days of sunlight a year.
Well, did you hear recently the report about sunshade that the stuff you put on your skin to block the sun, it doesn't work?
You mean sunscreen?
Found out it doesn't work from people here. I mean, sunblock doesn't work. And actually causes
it might depend on the strength you're using, I guess.
The stuff that you put on goes in your body and causes more problems than the sunshine.
Okay, it's another theory.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, if you want to get a little bit of tropical paradise here in November and also catch a bunch of retro computers from another country and including a bunch of CoCo clones and a very active CoCo community, I'd say besides the UK, Canada, the US, and Australia, this is in the top 5 of active communities. And the other one, I don't have a webpage or anything for it, but it was just announced by Grant in the chat here, maybe from the previous Go Inside meeting, is that the dates for CoCo Fest in 2027 is May 14th to 15th. I don't have any further details on that, but if you want to really book far ahead, that's the dates.
All right, then.
And I think that is it. I don't think I'm missing anything else. And like Ken, the stop share button has suddenly disappeared.
No, you don't get to stop anymore. Keep going, man. Oh, that's some icons.
Yeah, it's sharing my desktop now for some stupid reason.
All right, I gave you some mercy.
Oh, nice. You're a kind man.
I'd like to show something stupid, if it's okay. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, but can you unshare it? That's the thing.
That's
All right. Keep your hand on the button, Mark.
It don't work.
All right.
Doesn't work well.
We haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Yeah, they changed it all, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, content only as a background. Screen.
Divide by 12. Pat your head. Rub your tummy.
I got to try that. No. Yes. No.
It started green sharing, but hasn't put anything over yet. There we go.
Okay. Here's something I did in 2002.
Oh,
I had this dish in my backyard in Rochester, New York, and I took a stick, like a drumstick, and
a
added it
big
to
stick.
added it to my uh, joystick. You know,
Oh, that gives you more
Black Beauty.
definition, despite only having 63 numbers that were far apart at the end of the
Well,
stick, right?
what I did here was, yeah, I'm not a programmer or anything, but I figured out how to make a graphical display that would show. See, this mount
Connect the
was
two
old,
together?
and it would hang up if it went too far right or too far left, and then I'd have to
Okay.
get out of the house, go over and move it a little so it would be back on track again. Okay, I got real tired of doing that, so what I did was I came up with this idea of mounting the joystick onto the dish so that when it went back and forth, it would track which direction it's going and how far. So all I had to know is
Oh.
if it got toward the end, I would stop so it wouldn't lock up. And I was happy. You know, I'd move it with the, I had a machine that, you know, the receiver would actually move the dish back and forth, but it would stick. And then, you know, you have to go out there and move the dish to get it to go back the other direction, you know?
Right.
So this was a fix. And I thought it was novel because, you know, I thought of doing something with my CoCo and having it actually work. The interesting part was wiring up the CoCo cable, you know, for 90 feet to get
What the heck?
and to not cut it with the lawnmower when I did the grass.
Pay attention, kids. This is what they mean with real world hacks.
Yeah.
Right.
You still have your 90-foot joystick extension cable?
No.
Well, yeah, and your 10-foot or your 3-foot joystick extension stick to make it fit the azimuth of the, that.
Yeah.
It has to fit the dish.
That's it. And I also made a, you know, that's it. When it goes east, it would flash, and when it was west, it didn't flash. But it
Oh, okay. It goes back
actually
and forth. Yeah.
left a little junk here, which I never figured out why, but it didn't matter.
Oh, pretty much you can tell.
Yeah. So that's it. Let's see what stop share does. Ooh.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
So, you know, something fun to do. You know, I posted that years ago, you know, and every once in a while we get new people in
Yeah, they don't know why you're here.
group, and then so I'll put that up, and then they go, "Oh, what exactly were you monitoring?" Or, you know, were you using the digital aspect or something? You know, no, it was just simple. It was just to tell me where it was. You
East
know?
to
That's
west,
all I just needed to know, and it worked.
Well, that's an awesome project. Thanks for sharing.
Yep, it's a real world device, right?
Now we are kind of talking about that earlier because I was one post was asking, what do you use your CoCo for real these days?
Oh, exactly.
That would be an
Yeah.
example of it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah, you can figure out where the
Which way the dish is pointing.
Do you still have that dish, and did you turn it into a bird bath?
No, that was in Rochester, New York. Yeah, it was a fiberglass dish, which was interesting. And I used was it a 2-gallon paint bucket to cover the electronics on it? You know,
Oh, right.
the
Perfect.
original one broke. You know, it was, you know, kind of rounded off. Back in the day, they had those covers, but the paint bucket was perfect for it. So I screwed that on it.
Rick, I forgot to ask you, like you'd kind of done a competing list of stories for today here. Did I miss any of the ones you had?
No, not really. You pretty much came up with a bunch of ones I missed. I bow before your.
I just wish Facebook would revert back to you can sort by.
Oh my
latest.
God!
That is
Yeah,
such
you
a
gotta
pain.
sort through. Okay, it's less
We can't
probable.
sort nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
as I
well,
going through,
that's the
like it
thing.
says, here's one from last week. Here's one from last week. Here's one from 2019. Why the hell are you showing me this? And then,
Right.
you know, here's one from yesterday, and then back to like 3 weeks ago. It's stupid.
And so you're going to miss a lot of crap because you just can't read everything.
You don't have time to go through whatever random
Yeah.
stuff it's just sending you for no reason at all.
Speaking of random stuff, YouTube, for whatever reason, decided I needed to see this orchestral guy do the wedding march on rubber chickens.
Nice. That's important.
So it
to
knows you
all of
well,
us.
the algorithm.
So it's like, okay, I don't know why it decided that I needed to see that, but
That was a sponsored view.
Oh, probably was. Yeah. Have you bought a rubber chicken recently?
That's because you're part of the Rubber Chicken Society, Mark.
Yeah, well, Facebook will do that. If you kind of mishover a little bit, you may subscribe to something you had no intention of. I love their AI or UI. It's just
They just keep making it worse too. Some of the older groups that don't get much updates are still have the you click and you can do like latest or most relevant or
yeah, but that's all gone once they touch it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. But dragging groups now, the CoCo group are all switched to this highlights. That's all you have. And they pick what that is, whether it's from this year or not, who knows?
okay. Well,
I'm done vending. Go ahead.
We're done for today.
Yeah. Are you going to be back next week, Curtis?
I don't have my schedule handy. It's in the other room. I'll have to find out from this new job because I'm working weekends on occasion, working evenings on occasion, working midnights on occasion.
What are you doing?
It depends. Medical courier. So Ken would be familiar with Life Labs because they're based in BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario. So it's a clinic that you go to and you get like blood tests and urine tests and everything else. And then we courier the stuff over to the testing labs or to the hospitals if they need certain testing equipment. So it's running back and forth or taking stuff between hospitals. Because this hospital might take a draw of blood, but they don't have the right equipment to check for a certain condition. So you'd run it to the hospital that does, and it's just back and forth all over the place. But it's 24 hours, 7 days a week.
So yeah,
non-casual part-time is what they're calling it, but I'm getting usually at least 3 days of work a week from saw the schedule for fixed, and then I'm on call on top of that. So once I'm fully trained, I'm not quite there yet. But
cool. Well,
I haven't figured out how to work a CoCo into this yet, but I will.
you can get there.
It would be interesting to hear whether you have somebody you interact with a lot, and then you tell them that you have a show that you host on Saturdays.
I did mention it in passing, but nobody cares there.
Did it? No, really.
So no retro enthusiasts at the main building. Anyway. I haven't met everybody yet, though, so maybe.
Well, you gotta modify Poltergeist.
Well, what's interesting is when your wife describes to somebody else what you're doing on Saturday because they're trying to figure out, if we can go to.
Just say I'm on TV. It sounds so much more impressive.
Right, exactly.
He's busy for 4 hours and he does the computer show.
He's a news reader.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's an anchor man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God.
This concludes another episode of the CoCoNation, the world's leading live interactive talk show featuring the Technicolor computer. For all things the CoCoNation, visit us on the web at thecoconation.com. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to show@thecoconation.com. The CoCoNation show would not exist without the community and its cast and crew. The CoCoNation theme song, copyright 2022, D. Bruce Moore. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. The CoCoNation is over. Join us on the CoCo Discord server. CoCo forever.
Okay. Turn that on for next week. That's it for today then. We'll be around next week. Don't forget Thursday on Discord.
Oh, one quick thing. You guys did do a CoCo Tech episode, I think, with Paul on AI, and there's going to be a follow-up with all the AI people. Has that been scheduled yet?
Yeah.
Not yet? Okay. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, so.
Okay. No, I haven't set that up yet. I just got everybody focused up for group today. So I'll do that today. So we schedule a day.
Okay. And you have to fit your mic settings.
It's something to send out. You guys are all breaking up, so I think it's all me.
It was good. I watched it some. It was good.
Oh, well, we're sorry.
All right. See you next week.
We're
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.